Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock on a busy afternoon here as we continue to slide to the downside, mostly due to weakness in tech continuing this afternoon. We'll get into individual names coming up here, but no other downside move to talk about than this one right now. Bitcoin with a huge monster reversal bar forming on the daily chart right now, coming off of all-time highs this morning. We do break 69,000 and change, give it all back instantly. Down better part of $5,000 from the high now for BTC. So we'll keep an eye on how crypto-related stocks are doing. 3.7% right now for Tesla. To the downside, we have this Giga Berlin note that we'll get into here coming up this afternoon. But 180 holding as far as support is concerned. Back to 180. If you go to a daily chart, it's simply just the bottom end of the range, but yeah, 3.6% down here for Tesla. Apple, ugly on this China note. Microsoft, even worse, 3.25 right now. Weakness in tech, as you can see, the left-hand side of the screen leading the way. CRM's down 5% today. Wow. Into it as well. Netflix, 3.5. Adobe, better part of 4.5% right now. So lots of profit taking happening. We had a note on Meta, if you missed it, got about $500 yesterday and then right back down. We'll touch on it a little bit here coming up, but U.S. lawmakers are introducing a bipartisan legislation that would give China's ByteDance about 6 months to divest TikTok or face a U.S. ban entirely. So Meta did pop up on that, but has since come right back down to the bottom end of the day's range. So we'll talk about that as far as Meta is concerned. But hey, if you're with us in the pre-market this morning, make sure you're joining us every morning at 8:30. We get you set for the open coming up at 9:30 with everything you need to know. Here is another 2.8% on top of an ugly day yesterday for Apple, down to 170, guys, on this China note this morning. Not good. 24% decline year over year for iPhone sales in China.
Yeah, not good. The market's a little funny right now as we go. And NVIDIA's trying to go back up to the upside. We were just in a short and were able to take some profit and then got out. We're also short Uber right now. But yeah, the market dancing just a little bit. Apple's going to be my #1 stock today, and we haven't been back into it. We got out of our last piece once it broke above 171 or in and around there. I guess it didn't even break that. That must have been VWAP or something at that time. But yeah, definitely holding 171. I really like this for a short. It's just got to get back up to that. It was on the sticky note as the #1 idea, and I'm just going to hold on to that. So if we can get back into some VWAP, I really like the short. I am worried about Tesla. I'm worried about all this talk in China and what's going on with that economy down over there. And we talked about Tesla today at 180. It looks like that's going to hold. The bottom only being 178. We're going to get to that in a second. But anyways, I just think that China, the top 2 stories here on our board, are going to remain problems with China. I mean, the U.S. economy is super strong, is what we keep hearing, right? Unemployment is great. GDP keeps getting increased. Yeah, nothing to worry about here. Maybe there's something to worry about over there. So that's why China keeps on having these little hiccups, I guess. Hiccup?
Yeah, I mean, there was no real stimulus package out of there, but they did meet, the government did meet, and they're talking about ways to stimulate the economy. But at the end of the day, we have to trade the names based on what we're seeing. And unfortunately for Apple, penalty box still. The short has been off of early on. Look, early on it was off the pop fading at 107.72, but 71 and maybe the 170.80 level in particular has been the short. If it gets back up to VWAP, that'd be the half. I want to try to get back into it. I'm out of it myself, but I am on the offer up there in front of 170.80. So Apple for a couple of days in a row now. This is what a flat bottom break looks like. It's well under the 200 period moving average and coasting down towards the October low, which at this rate we see this week. It's only $5 away.
Yeah.
So if you like that October low and you're going to be on the bid there, spoiler alert, I am going to be not in the day trading account, my personal account. We could get that within a couple of days.
All right, let's go on to Tesla here. Downside, we did bounce, though, I think, off of a maybe shorter outage than expected coming through, if you missed it during the midday. So Berlin going to be down until next week, I think. Oh. I saw it initially this morning. People are saying maybe a couple of weeks. So maybe 1 week or getting away with 1 week a little bit better than expected. But yeah, we bounced off 180.
Yeah, protests here, Brendo, for the planned expansion of Tesla's Berlin Gigafactory. They want to expand it to about 100 gigawatt an hour battery production and to produce about 1 million cars per year. Correction, I said 1 million cars per day this morning. I meant per year, obviously. So there was some arson apparently at an electrical substation right near the Gigafactory.
Yeah, not a good day, but heavy selling off the open this morning for Tesla, but it's been mostly green ever since on the way back up.
I'm hoping Uber and Tesla have a fun relationship for the next little while. I own both of those names. But for right now, just to give you guys a quick little trade update here. We are short off vwap again. We just took a nice little 10 cents there on Uber. Let's see if it goes back down to Z downside. And we're shorting NVIDIA off of 850. This is slippery. We are short right here at 848.60. The spread is pretty wild here, man. It's like right there, boom, right down to the downside. We didn't actually get any fills down there. But we're looking for them. If we can get an 848.20, I think it just bounced off of us. So here we go. Oh, no, there it is, 30s. We'll get a little trade coming on. All right, so while we wait for that, hopefully we'll fly through. I don't know, we just got to wait for it. All right, that's that. Yeah, we're just down to these areas again. So I think when we talked about dollar cost averaging on Apple, I think it's something that's very similar that could happen here. And that is just if you believe in the story and you like Tesla, you've already come down here. Again, apologies for, let me just zoom back. There it is. So, you know, worst case, I feel like 160, and then you really get nervous at 150. But we've gone over this on the podcast. We've gone over this on the show a couple times as well. And that is that, you know, Tesla really hasn't, it's gone up and down. And if I show you the daily chart or the weekly chart, you'll see it's been a wild roller coaster, and it's kind of just wound up at the same spot. This is like where we were 3 years ago or so on the name. So it really hasn't been a very aggressive company, and out of the, well, it's been aggressive, but aggressively down right now. Since the beginning of the year, we're down quite a bit, man. 260 down into 180. So not performing well. If this market's going to head southbound, unfortunately, I think Tesla is already leading the way, but I think it will also lead the way to the downside. You saw a big move yesterday, so. Yeah,
yesterday was nasty. Today is not much better with regards to Tesla. The good news is it's making a bounce, a little bit of a bounce. So the daily chart has 75 as support, trend bottom. I like the in front of 150, like 153, I think is the actual trend bottom on Tesla. But it's above VWAP. The issue here is 182. That is your opening bottom. So right here, it was pre-market lows right at 182. It then wicked that right at the open at 940, tried to get a little bit higher, and then when it gave it up for good, there's your trend down. So 182 is a problem for Tesla. If the market does recover and this can hold above 182, I think it has a chance to rally a couple bucks. If 182 keeps failing, I think it's a short. I likewise have been shorting, whoops, that is Uber on another market. Apparently. I don't know what CC is. I have no idea what CC is. But I've been short Uber of VWAP since about noon, and it's been back and forth off these same levels over and over again. But Tesla, it's going to be about that 82 level. If I'm not trading off that level, then I'm not trading at all. What broke?
NVIDIA.
AMD. You know what? I'm going to get to AMD.
Yeah, so and NVIDIA just broke 850. That's okay. I mean, remember we were just pennies. You know, this is how you got to trade this name. We were pennies away from getting a fill there. You guys like literally 10 pennies or something. And now things are starting to get spicy back up to the upside. So here we go again. Look at the market bouncing nicely off 17.8 and now trying to go again. So we'll have to watch out here. Maybe we've bottomed out a little bit. 17.880. So let's mark that level here in the NASDAQ as we continue to go to the upside. I'd still like to. It's too bad that Amazon went all the way down. We've been really hitting this one. We know that this was a long that we've liked as well.
I actually just got into this one off 74.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good long there.
No, I'm shorted.
Oh, shorted. Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, either way, 74 has been key.
It's been the key price.
It's a matter of waiting to see what this market does. There goes NVIDIA, so I think we did a good call there. Oh, it's too bad that we didn't get out at 48. Like, it was just right there. Like, that wick, we just missed it. We were bidding 20s. It went to 25. Anyways, here we go to the upside. Chip's starting to take off right now, guys. So we'll go over and talk about Target, but you know, it's a chip story right now.
That's here pretty quick. Let's get through Target quickly here. 169, 170 comes into play today. Huge gap to the upside, holding nicely after a beat for Target right across the board.
Yeah, beat on the top and bottom line, Brendo, but the guide was a little bit light, and they say they're going to continue to see weak sales into the rest of the year, mostly due to the consumer. We're going to have to watch what they do here, but nice bounce up.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've been up here. You got to zoom out all the way back to middle of last year, I guess, early last year to get 170, guys, for Target.
Yeah, it's like a lower high double top-ish, oddly enough in April of last year. So it's pretty much exactly a year ago. This will probably work out to like the 50, this will be the 52-week high now that I look at it. So it's, if this is a wick 52-week top at 171, then I don't wonder if that's not a short up here if it gets there today. I did not look at that deeply enough, so I'm glad that you just mentioned that, Brendan, because if this gets to the 171 today, then it's trying to break a 52-week high. And that seems like a lot on a day of the market it's weak. It's up 12.5%. I think I might be looking for a potential fade, but it's at 169.5. So I guess you're like $1.50 away from that price, and it hasn't been moving all that much. So I feel like that could be a low probability that you get a spike into the 171. But good luck for Target. Congratulations if you were trading this one. I think I like to dip buy. I know I like to dip buy into 160. You can clearly see that never even came close to happening. And that's generally how I like these earnings plays. Like either it gives me some kind of a ridiculous fill that I think is like a golden fill, or I'm probably not going to trade something like a Target, which I don't normally look at. But yeah, the 71 looks pretty good, 52-week high.
We just got back into short on Apple here. We'll ride this up, just up a little bit into the 50s. We'll see what happens on 170.50 for Apple. Look, what Target did was also do this to Walmart. Walmart takes 60 today, so that's nice. So it's not really doing anything, but it took it, so it's the first time it's done that. Apologies for our charts, but it has taken it. That was that 180 level right there. So 60, 180 divided by 3 gets us to the 60. So a nice split last week. And then here's Walmart breaking 60. So I feel like, you know, more people probably in Walmart than Target, but I don't, maybe not. Nice move up there for Target. Yeah. I don't know. I don't love the retail space. We've talked about this a couple times. I don't know. People like to spend money, that's for sure. And it seems like Target, they lowered their guidance a little bit. So that's something. I'm surprised how high up it is. But we'll wait to see what happens here. Target still looks like it wants to win. So good trading here for TGT.
On the other hand, not too good for GitLab. We do get a nice bounce out of the gate this morning, starting to fade back off here again, 20.5% on the day. But that low from after the close yesterday, around $60, comes into play throughout basically the entire midday. A lot of covering maybe on the short side out of the gate this morning. Huge move up for GitLab.
Yeah, they projected full year 2024 revenue and profit below what Wall Street was looking for, basically citing cautious spending environment due to an uncertain economy. They're expecting to lose about $12 to $13 million in Q1, another $15 million of which is going to be for some conference that they're making for their remote workers to all come in. We'll have to see how they do, Brendo, but yeah, like guide.
Yeah, we'll see how. We saw on that board, the sector board there, retail was very, very small, so not really influencing a lot of the other ones today as far as Target is concerned.
Yeah, that's true.
We have some reports tonight. JWN, Nordstrom's, Ross is coming out tonight as well. So there's going to be some more retail happening over there. We're getting, well, we'll talk about what's happening later on. We don't want to spoil anything around here.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what's happening in that room there.
Just a weird
yeah, the room. Okay. GitLab. I didn't even look at GitLab.
So I like to short the pop, but then
arm, maybe.
The level that I wanted to short, it absolutely blew through it, which is, I mean, it's a good thing is that I didn't actually try to just blindly short it between 60 and 62, because that was in no way, shape, or form was there any resistance at those prices. But I was looking for a fade. I kind of felt like it was an SSR bounce that never gave you some kind of a test lower. And when it did bounce, I guess I wasn't patient enough. If I was really patient, I could have come back into this at like 63. But I stayed away, which is good enough. We'll let this one settle down. When you have a move down this far, okay, it's bounced off support at 57. If it just holds 57 for a couple of days, there's probably some kind of a long play in GitLab here. If it can hold this key, obvious support level, big resistance level for the last year, and then support starting in December, late December, and then early January. So 57, if it can hold that for a couple of days, there might be a nice little relief rally if it hasn't already done a bit today. But the guide stunk, even though they beat top and bottom, and that's in this market, you're just going to get punished for that.
All right, we'll touch on AMD to wrap things up here. We had some selling into the close yesterday. Looks like 204, 205 ends up being the top today. Downside, though, on this note this morning, if you missed it, regarding their now chips going over to China and not being regulated to, it sounded like today. So we do get a hold, though, of 205 off that close from yesterday.
Yeah, so AMD failed in getting a made-for-China chip past U.S. regulators, and they'll have to apply for an export license, according to Bloomberg. We saw this whole thing with AMD already. They had to go through that twice. Same thing with, with NVIDIA. So now we have to see it with AMD. What they're doing is they're tweaking their GPUs to have less performance and become unhackable, as they say, Brendo, as they're worried the Chinese may overclock some of these GPUs.
Yeah, not a directional day, to say the least here, guys, but still downside overall for AMD.
I think I found something I like long.
You got a long? You got Amazon.
No.
Oh, no, you got Amazon.
No, I'm short. I might like.
I'm short everything again here.
I might like Google long here off of 132.25. I know I'm changing subject. I'll get to AMD in a second.
132.25.
Just quickly as a reason why. Look, Alphabet made a huge run on that TikTok news. Obviously, you guys can see that. It has been pulling back. It's not going to get to VWAP, but if you look at 10 o'clock, this was right here failing. Like the big fail was a lower high here at about 132.25. It just bounced off that as putting in a higher low. So I kind of like this off of that level. Let's see if I can't get something in the 40s and then work the long. AMD, fortunately, we were pretty disciplined with this. I was looking short the entire way on AMD, with 205 being the key level. So I shorted the breakdown at the open underneath 200. That was good till it wasn't. Stopped myself out there. Shorted the pre-market lower high for a tight stop. Shorted the next top for a tight stop. And then waited for the 205 level. Eventually 205 is what carried. And then shorted VWAP for $1.25. And then tried VWAP again for a fail. Now all of a sudden this looks a little bit strong. I mean, it's not super strong, but at least a tiny bit. You're holding higher lows on AMD with the market catching a bottom. Market bouncing off lows. AMD and NVIDIA, I guess, as well, bouncing off some of those lows as well. So holding VWAP over the 202. I still like 05 for a short, but if it's going to hold VWAP, suddenly this looks a little bit strong. And if the chips trend in the afternoon, they're not the ones I want to fight. Like I should be looking at I don't know what a firm is doing today, but probably safer to short.
We can always short a firm.
Well, I don't know. I was in it for a little bit.
Look at Bitcoin, by the way.
Is it still falling?
Bitcoin's tanking right here. Bitcoin down almost $7,000 from where we were previously. Here's the chart here in 1 second once this loads up. There it is. Let's go. So here's a nice move up to 69,000 today, down to 63 right here. Let's go to 4-hour chart. Here's the high. We really ramped up, and then all of a sudden, wow. Okay, guys, maybe we shouldn't have talked about it. It is tanking right now, 62.8. For Bitcoin. That's a decent move, man. Down 5%. When's the last time we saw that? Bitcoin is really was that a note for Adara? No, okay. Bitcoin starting to move down, so watch out for Coinbase right now. I'm in this one as well, so you can see here as we watch out for Apple. We talked about reshorting Apple. That's what we talked about, so there it is. Let's see if Apple can get a little bit lower. We are net short on Apple. Adding, okay, good, boom. Adding big time right now, big time to the home run we hit earlier. So we're back up here and trying to do it again. The only problem that's not, or the only thing that's not going my way right now is Uber. So maybe we'll have to get out of this one and just sort of nurse this Apple short, which is seeming like it wants to work.
Before we go
ahead. Yeah.
I don't want to get off the chips for a second because I was just saying some of the chips are relatively strong. A correction. Intel is not, and I will short this again. It's down 5.5%. So relative weakness is pretty easy to see in this particular case. I'm on the offer in front of 20s. There's this wick. That'll be better if I zoom in a little bit more. That's much better. Okay, so it broke a flat bottom at 43.40. I shorted that, got out in front of 43. Now I want to short the next available pop in Intel. Some dark pool wicks going through, but down 5.5% speaks for itself as far as I'm concerned. Just got into Amazon and off the 174. It just printed 173.72.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably have to clean this wick up as well, but Amazon continuing to fall a little bit here. I did get into Google for that long. I'll give it to the quarters. If it breaks the quarters, I am out. But we are still short Uber. That thankfully didn't stop out. We got into Amazon, and next available pop, I'm shorting Intel, as I believe we are done the rundown.
I think so. Okay, good. I didn't realize Neil was also an Uber. Yeah, we're probably close to being stopped out there both. We're have a good short. What's happened down though is Apple. Apple has fallen out a bet a little bit here, so it's good, man. This is really good. There goes Apple. We'll take some more out. We're stockpiling, baby, right now on Apple. So good trade there. Obviously, wish we had a little bit more of this name as it's starting to head down, and so is Nvidia breaking back lower. So boo-hoo on that one. As there we go to the downside on Nvidia, Apple. And by the way, we also have Zillow. We'll talk about that Bear Cave report. So we're done now. So are we going back to the desk? Is that what that means, Ramin? All right, then let's go.
All right, been a great week on the short side for the Midday Show. What's coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, fantastic day for the shorts today. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about shorting into an active decline. So if something's already making a big move down, how do you find your way in? Check that out with Adair and I tomorrow at 11 on How to Trade.
I gotta watch that one. We had a big move there in Disney today, by the way, when Bob Iger came out and talked about how their DTC would be profitable at some point, or expects a nice headwind or tailwind, I guess, from it. But you could see like that was nice. They're speaking at I think it's a Citigroup tech conference or something. So yeah. Bob Iger was there. So yeah, Dara's going to hook us up with this. But you know, there it is. So it's right back down in. And I just want to tell everybody that during the midday, and I was telling this to Neil, and I was feeling like, again, like the worst absolute decision I've made, but it's not, was to sell Disney. So I got out of Disney when it broke through 113. Not out of it all. Like took out about 20% of my position, and then only to have this happen up to 115. It's not a lot of money. I was just saying, like, you know, that's what happens sometimes to me. And you know, you get out, and I didn't get out because it was panicked. I got out because I was just thinking that we maybe are running into a couple tops here on Disney, 114, and then we get that huge spike up. So I'm kind of like, we talked about it earlier, if it gets up to 120, we want to take some out. So now that we've done that, we'll wait for 120 now, if we're lucky enough to get that, to take out our next little tranche of Disney.
I like that.
Yeah, not bad, right? Zillow Group today, Bear Cave report came out. It didn't do anything. Like it even went against me when I got it. But I was just kind of shorting it off of this bottom, like $55. So we shorted 54.77, giving it. I mean, you could see we got out at 50 there. So we were giving it to 55. So it was like 25 cents one way, 25 cents the other. We're out of half. So now we're playing with house money. I just wanted to see if there was follow through in Zillow, because, you know, if there was any smoke where there's fire, or there's any fire where there's smoke, then maybe Bear Cave would have got this thing through 54, and then I wasn't sure where it would go from there. So we'll hold on to that. Playing with house money is always nice. And we're doing that with Apple here. So I'm going to put something else on the bid here. There you go. At 04. That's going to be a tough chart to see. I understand that. My understanding is we do have Frank Caberna coming. So so that'll be good, coming out in about 20 minutes. So more important data to come this week.
100%. Well, we actually have the man himself. Probably, my guess is when Jerome Powell goes in front of Congress, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's probably the worst part of his job.
The bottom?
Yeah, like I just feel like how could, like, I don't know, like you answer some questions and some of them, the quality of which are questionable. I feel like that's the diplomatic way to say it. But yeah, tomorrow we're going to have Powell in front of Congress, and then the day after that as well. There was a note on Citigroup, but it probably doesn't matter because it's already pulling back in here. It was just their CEO expecting IB revenue to grow in the low teens, and a couple of other notes. It was spiking up. The volume spike did take it higher. It is right back to where it started. Thankfully, Uber is trying to get back under VWAP after popping up here. So Uber, the high has been 78.75, and it just wicked it. I'm getting more out in the 40s if it does go there today. Do want to respect the fact that if it's holding higher lows, you could get a bit of a break back out this afternoon. Google was the new entry, Alphabet I should say, the new entry for me, and it's the only long position I have in this consolidation, essentially going sideways. But remember, this was up, churning to the upside. I mean, there isn't even a red candle. I don't know exactly what time. I'd have to double check when that TikTok news hit. You could probably look at a Snapchat chart and it'd be easier to figure out, because Google was kind of trending for a few minutes into that and now pulling right back into those quarters. I want to respect the quarters to the downside. I'm going to reload Amazon off 174, as it looks like it's coming right back into that 74 level. Market's just hanging at this 2%. The NASDAQ's just hanging at this 2% mark and seeming like it's about to make a pop one way or the other. If we get a 2.5% down day, that's kind of what I'm leaning into. The bias was short, and really, if you were thinking short today, are we getting away from it till 17.8-ish, I suppose? We'll see. I think we're gonna, well, maybe we'll find out. I mean, we're about 100 points away from that on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to find out very soon because, I mean, Apple's just not, if Apple breaks through 170 again.
It's over.
I don't know if it's over or not, but like I feel like it does push a little bit, and that should weigh in here a little bit
where's
more
Microsoft?
as well. Just quickly, Uber has, what's up, something stock? We're legends. Come on, Neil. Come on, Sean. I think the chat is very legendary. So I want to say shout out to everybody in the chat there. We have a great team in the chat. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. And shout out to Bears vs. Bulls as well there. I think everybody in the chat are legends. We've had some great call-outs, man. Daryl was talking about Google. I think he was in the NVIDIA short with me as well, which didn't work, so sorry about that, Daryl. But here we go to the downside right now. I'm going to take out one more piece at 05 on Apple, if we can. There we go. We got it there. I don't know if it breaks 170. I mean, we're short at 170.30. We got it off the 200 period. We were going to take this out. Well, I don't even know if we were going to take it out or not, but 50 was where VWAP was. We might have decided to do something up here. So if we're going to go short right now at 33 and possibly thinking about getting it out 50, 55, 60, you know, now we're about 30 cents in the money. So, you know, give or take 25, 30 cents. It's good. Good ratio here. I feel pretty confident to do that. Oh, in a stock that we are, oh, there it goes. Did we just get some Uber love? Yeah, we did. So really great reloads on Uber. Like that's going to be a floss trade for sure as we go through that. Oh yeah, by the way, I got, if anyone needs floss from Costco yesterday, I got a 6-pack. You know, over 500 uses, it says right on the thing.
500 uses?
So the thing about, so listen to this at Costco yesterday. If you spend, so all their Procter & Gamble stuff, no, there's 6 of them. So each one you have like 80 uses out of each. You know the Strand?
Oh, okay, I get
The,
No, I thought you were, okay, never mind. 80 out of each. I thought when you're saying 500 uses, I'm like, what? Out of
no,
one of
500,
those?
you buy the huge pack.
Okay.
You buy the huge pack from Costco.
No, I misinterpreted.
Anyways, Procter & Gamble, they have all their Tide, all their Bounce, all that stuff on sale. And it's spent by $100, get 25 back. So it was like a good one for the Katina household yesterday. Man. Those are some crazy W's there as well.
I told everyone you were buying the smoke alarms, but apparently you weren't. So.
No, but I have to get the Ring ones. So I have to.
Oh, right.
I was actually looking. I went to Ring. They have a one that's. They have like a flood one, and then they also have. I'll look for it later. And they also have one with carbon monoxide. So they didn't have it on their website. The carbon monoxide.
Flood one.
Yeah, you can put them there. So if you could put it like behind your sink, behind your washer dryer. And it will also indicate there's just a whole bunch of different settings. It's ridiculous. So if there's too much water flowing out, you can have like a leak somewhere.
There's just so much crap you can buy for your house. It's like, wow.
Crap. Oh yeah.
No, I say crap in not bad thing. I'm just talking about like in general. Like there's always something you can be getting or doing, as anyone knows.
Oh, crap is right.
No, well, crap sort of signifies.
You see all the crap we have at our house.
Oh, don't even get me started. It's the toy, whatever. I don't want to rant about that. I got to reload in Amazon. We keep way too much stuff. Now I'm ranting about it. My wife doesn't love to throw stuff out. We have so much stuff in like a room of death, and every time I have a day off, we have unlimited. I do like a little bit of like just stuff that you're not gonna notice that I got rid of this. Okay, but we're doing it anyways. My wife's not watching, so it's fine. 174 reloaded on Amazon. Hopefully she's not watching. Nothing important was thrown out, but we had to clean some stuff out. I'm going to rinse and repeat this inside of the range here, 173.80. Turin bar. Am I wrong, or isn't it a bearish consolidation, bearish consolidation on NVIDIA? Well, let's look it up. I'm in Uber and Amazon. I like those ones right now. Bearish consolidation. You're above VWAP, but you have to look sometimes at the bigger picture. Let's look at the 15-minute. You could, if you're arguing that since the fail break yesterday, you're still putting in lower highs. So I don't necessarily disagree, though I don't know if you call it a consolidation yet. Maybe it consolidated off the 855 here, but this isn't really much of a consolidation yet. But the 855 looks like a good level the more I look at this. We closed at 52, so it's 50 is kind of sitting in the, like 852 is in between the 50 and 55. So it's almost like the shorts to 55 when I look at the 15-minute chart. It doesn't look crazy. I just feel like shorting NVIDIA when it's above VWAP in the afternoons has sometimes gone awry. I could be wrong.
Shorting NVIDIA, yeah. Oh, NVIDIA?
Well, just,
yeah, no,
like
I lost
NVIDIA
on
specifically.
Yeah, I think that's probably
like,
pretty accurate.
Like, what about ARM? What's that doing right now?
I was going to talk about that and I forgot to.
Yeah, let's go look. Let's look at ARM if my chart wants to cooperate here. Okay, ARM's consolidating, but it's consolidating higher as well. Like ARM, this is a consolidation. That's for sure a consolidation, but then that's wipeout bottom, first short no good. Second short, it was good shorts off 134 back into 132.5, but then it was like a smaller win into a tight stop. And this almost looks like it's a trend up. Wipeout bottom. Look at that candle down and recovery off 130 and then the higher low. So I don't know if I like that one either. I'm going to stay away from those two. I'm not really seeing it. It could, if it breaks down through 134, let it break and then go after it. But let's see it break support on ARM first. Oh, Google came out. That means the shorts are winning again.
Yeah, we just, we're doing really well on these shorts right now. We're almost $1 right here in on Zillow Group. Free rolling that trade, so that's good. We'll watch out for that. Apple finally now breaking. So I just took another piece out at 170. Like, I don't know what to do here, to be honest with you, because, it's holding down here, but then I think that if the floodgates open up, this is the name I want to be short for sure. So I think let's hold the rest. I do have another bid at 92 because we hadn't broken really since there. These bottoms are at 94s. So let's just get into here and see if we can get a fill. I think that'd be a really nice one. So we'll see if that will happen there on Apple to the downside. So good trading there, I feel like, anyways, today on Apple. And then, so that's that. And then we will also look to see what's happening with Uber. We took another piece out here at 50. I don't know. Zillow is still there. And then, honestly, throw up in my mouth a little bit here, but there goes NVIDIA. And it's funny that you were just mentioning it because I have orders in to go short against this 54 and then get out if we break through 55 for NVIDIA. So fortunately it didn't. Yeah, it just turned right there. So there's kind of a miss there. 852. We were short all the way. The damage on this name isn't huge. It's just, we did lose on it. So this will be a red name for me because of this last little area. We took profit there, but then we couldn't get out. We tried to take profit there. We averaged in at 850 and got out at 850, but with slippage, I think it was 850 20s. So there's the push down on that one. Apple's going, so that's nice. And then is AMD doing anything right now at 202? Nah.
Not really.
So I lost on ARM short earlier, which is fine because it did go all the way up. So ARM again, good trade there. Took about $1. So that's almost a 34.25. That's 33. So that is more than $1. Remember, we were hitting the dollar club, and then we lost right here trying to deal with it at 35. So yeah. ARM's still above VWAP. I'll just pick on Apple. But look at Apple, though. Look at yourself. All right, punch out again at 02s there a little bit and get some half prints. And then just maybe have to get out at 170. I don't know. The market. Oh, if Anne Frank is coming. Oh, man.
Yeah, 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes to
could
the Frank bounce. And we're holding the lows. Like
Zillow.
The NASDAQ, just check out the NASDAQ here. We have wicked this bottom a few times. This is a 15-minute chart ram of the NASDAQ. And like the wick underneath, now we're starting to hold beneath. I just got to reload in Intel lower highs. But the longer we hold this, if we get to 245 and we're still maintaining this bottom, I might expect a retest of at least 17.9 and get back up like another 40, 50 points. And then you're going to want to be more patient shorting the pops. Until then, short the first available pop. In Intel, it only bounced 15 pennies. So that's where we're going to end up shorting it. So I'm into it. Roger saying crowd earnings on a cyber attack day. I know, right? Like there was all those outages this morning.
Yep.
I mean, well, okay, like I don't know the number of affected sites, but like it seemed like just about everything. Let's see. Come on now. See
down detector.
W. Right? Yeah, you could have checked down detector. I wasn't really doing that, but I felt like everything was down. And then you had all of the cybersecurity names, which were already trending before that. They were already all trending to the downside, and none of them have caught bids. Crowd down 7%. That being said, look at the stock over the last few years, or well, like year and a half, I should say, because I'm pulling back to like, that's like December 22. It's only now getting to the 50-period moving average after falling $50 off of the highs. So it's fallen almost 15%, and it's at the 50-period moving average. And the 200-period moving average is $90 down from here. It's at $200 on Crowdstrike. 200. Remember PanW were buying off the 200-period moving average on a pullback? The equivalent on that for Crowdstrike would be it dropping $90. Which, if it were to happen, if somehow it dropped 30-something%, bye.
This was
Probably not going to happen, though.
I don't know, man. On the podcast, this was the call. I talked about Crowdstrike. I talked about shorting it. So if you had it, hopefully you're short at 314. It's down 290. Didn't actually do anything yesterday, Crowdstrike. So we'll see. It could also pop up huge. It's just PanW had a bad report there, and we saw what happened. Then we saw Cloudflare. And if you want to know more, then make sure you go check it out.
Down. Not Zillow. Zscaler was down.
Zscaler was down, yeah. So lots of...
You're trading Zillow. Now I have that in my head.
Yeah, we're dollar almost now on that one. Apple's still hovering 170. Yeah, there's Crowd. Crowd could break again here. Let's check out Palantir. PLTR. So again, didn't get as low as we had hoped for, but still got pretty low. We wanted to wait for $23. We've been really patient with trading these last couple days, and it's been paying off. So I feel like we should just keep doing it. So right now we'll wait to see this 23.40 bottom. I still don't want that. I want to be short here into the close. We're under VWAP. We're under the 50 period. We're not even close to VWAP. NASDAQ is down 2%. This could get nasty into the close. So I feel pretty happy with being short right now. There goes Apple finally. We are bidding 92 right now. There we go. Found out that my daughter got invited to the single A trial, which is nice, The girls, her age highest is only double A, so we're pretty proud of her to be invited to that kind of level 2 years after playing the sport, so we're pretty proud of her for that one. Okay, Uber's coming back up. I might not reload this one. Why? We've already done really well on it. It's going to be my number 3 stock today. Yep, that's right. Apple, AMD, Uber, Amazon, Zillow. Well, Zillow I'm still in. Anyways, okay. It'll be a decent stock, but yeah, 3 or 4 right there. We only have 6 positive names, so it's halfway. And then if it breaks back above here, we've already targeted this out 75 cents. So we'll give this 20 cents or so worth of room, but we will not reload it. But it is interesting to reload something in and around VWAP, so that could be something to look at. Okay, here goes Apple, so there it is. Let's go, man. We'll put this one back into the gates of hell. And again, Neil and I talk about this. You really, really have to stay, in as many lanes as possible, but more specifically your lane. Because the thing is like, if you get away from what you're talking about, like we wanted to short Apple. So this is by far my number 1 name. It's not even close. So we have so many shorts there. It's off the stick. You guys can go grab it. By the way, Bitcoin just took 62.
Bitcoin is absolutely flushing.
But look at these Apple trades here today. Look, short, and just results in... So it's been, again, a pretty good trade there. I should have trusted it a little bit more. But we have a decent spot on. So let's get out some more shares here as we continue to flush a little bit in the futures. Again, we're just joking about Frank coming on. But I want to get some out here. We're not joking about him coming on. He's coming on.
He is coming.
About potentially rallying the market of any sort. So Apple right now is near the low of the day. And we just reloaded that short. So I hope you guys are on this trade, man, honestly. Like we just put that on. We talked about why we liked it and how we were sort of free rolling with it. And then NVIDIA, sometimes trading, and this is something that I have to figure out 100%. It's like I get nervous because, again, if it goes against me and it hits my targets, I get out. But maybe on a stock like NVIDIA, I have to be, obviously, not maybe, widening the targets, which I think I'm doing. But, we still got stopped out there, which is okay because we got stopped out an 850 break. It went to 852, so almost. So it's like $2 more is not comfortable. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, where did the day go? And yada, yada, yada. So you got to be careful with all of that. So we'll just continue to sort of talk this talk. And there's Uber again. We'll do it now for this. People always want Sharif to spin that right there. So there it is, man. It's a nice move to the downside here. As Zillow is now, oh, there it is. We can do it officially right now. Zillow, finally, there it is. Nice little Dollar Club official member now as we break below and get those 77 prints. So Zillow really, really working to the downside. Apple working, Uber working. It's working.
Everything's working right now. But for the first time ever, no, well, not the first time ever, there was a bit of a hammer candle on A&F just now. Abercrombie has been, it's probably the most surprising chart of the year, but there was just this big rejection at 140. It just tried to break the high and then slammed $2 down almost immediately. And this has been an absolute rocket ship to the upside on the daily chart. Rocket, rocket, rocket. Since middle of last year, it's up like 7x or 6.5 times or I don't know, whatever. It's ridiculous. If this is starting to give it up, that could be a bit of a sign on a day where you had some strength out of retail. But if this can hold under VWAP, I'm going to keep my eyes on it. The question was, am I going to short it now? The volume, the spread is a bit more than you'd expect. I'd like to see it settle down and try to break a little bit lower, but it's still doing a bit of a dance here. And the other thing to watch out for is Disney. Disney just held a bit of a low. When that Bob Iger yada yada stuff came out, it was right at 112.75 that it broke out. It just put a wick into that level. So if it can hold 112.75 or the 113, there might be a little bit of a bounce play off of the place it broke out from at the start. Yeah, Sebastian, I know they report A&F. It's just like at some point that stock is going to make a pullback, right? Like you can't go up forever. There's got to be some kind of a 20% dip on A&F, just the way it's been going. And maybe someone's getting out in front of it today. Like look at this thing. Like 20%, the 50-period moving average is not even 20% down. Like it's almost 25% from its 50-period moving average, and it would be more than cut in half at its 200-period moving average. That is a stock that has been absolutely flying. That said, I'm not going to just quickly jump into it unless I see a trade set up, but it is now on the radar after that rejection at 140. So you want to check that one out after the market. Intel got back down to 43. I'm back on the offer. Want to short back the teens into the 43.20 level as that just continues to trend into the downside. And I wish there was something we can't short BTC, but I look at this IBIT.
Yeah, we could, yeah, exactly.
I know, okay, we have the Bitcoin futures. I usually pull up this chart to show you guys of the futures. We can only go long here at Real Trading there, but you can short in the ETFs. And IBIT, look at this trend to the downside. Like the 36 level, I know there are going to be different prices. Call it 65,000 has been a bit of a pivot level. The equivalent, if you look at the 65,000, you just go out to right here. Like it's about 30, call it 3670. So I think 36 into 3670 feels like an area that could be a place to short a pop. If this trend continues, every single time it's tried to pop, there's just been another short opportunity here in BTC. You don't worry about things like SSR. You don't care about that necessarily, but wow, what a trend to the downside. And the only thing, I can't see anything holding up, but Coinbase is at a double bottom. Like even a flat bottom break on a Coinbase looks pretty enticing here. Look at 217. I look at IBIT and then immediately I'm convincing myself I should trade Coinbase instead.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
Coinbase we talked about this morning. I couldn't understand why Coinbase was.
But look at this double bottom, 218.
Oh my God.
Or 217.70. Double bottom today, higher low yesterday. If it can't hold this, I think it's floodgates. We're already short. We got Frank in a couple minutes. I don't think it's going to matter. We're down 2.16% on the NASDAQ, and we're not really catching any bids.
Isn't Sharif Long Mara like $30? Like it's at $22 right now.
No,
he bought it for the first time last Friday, whatever it was, on the day before earnings.
Oh, really? I missed
remember that's why I was like, that's a top for Bitcoin, but top for Bitcoin.
You know what? I must have missed that. My bad. I don't remember that for some reason.
Well, I'll just ask him. I don't know because it was an earnings thing.
Okay.
Let's see what he says on that one. Okay, let's go over to the desk. We've all been waiting for it, so let's see what Frank has to say. Let's go.
Yeah, busy week. Lots to discuss on the economic and macro side of things. Frank Caberna back with us from IG.com over in Chicago for a look at not one, Frank, but 2 straight days of Fed Chair Powell coming up over the next 2 days. Wednesday and Thursday we'll get 10 testimony that, I don't know, I mean, give me your take here, but I don't know if it matters at this point. I think we've heard all that we can hear. Whether or not he'll give us a little more indication as to what has happened since the last time we heard from him remains to be seen. But what do you think going into this?
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity for some good short-term reactions in this market, but I would agree with you that in the grand scheme of things, the non-farm payrolls number on Friday and the inflation number next week and the actual FOMC meeting the week following is likely going to be a better indication of when we're getting cuts in the U.S. and how many we're getting. Tomorrow and the next day will be, a lot of maybe posturing for Democrats and Republicans on either side of, yes, we're looking for cuts. And then maybe you see, a fall in rates, a fall in dollar, and a rise in stocks and some other markets off of some rhetoric like that. But then also, he's in every single speech, it seems, Brendan, he's had both the yin and the yang of we're looking to cut. We're looking to spur on some growth and release some of the pressure that are on some of the financial institutions, regional banks, and everything else, and also just everyday people, of course. But yeah, the yang on that is last two non-farm payrolls have been double expectations. Inflation, though the PCE print was in line, CPI just came in 0.2% higher than expected. The stock market, though today it's taken a breather, obviously, is at all-time highs. And so who knows if this is necessarily a cutting environment. He seems to be very data-driven, obviously. But yeah, it'll be interesting under the pressure of what I would imagine are a lot of politicians asking for a number of different reasons, their lobbyists and everything else, to maybe move interest rates lower sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that might be, as we sit here and talk about it, that might be the headliner tomorrow and the next day, more the when, not the how much or how fast they're going to do it, but when they'll start. Because that seems to be what the market is hanging on at this point every single day. That being said, I was going back over the past couple of these. Remember, this is a semi-annual testimony for anyone who's listening and has never heard of this before. It's a semi-annual testimony. If you go back to the last one, typically what happens is, as you were saying, you get an opening statement from the Democrat representative, you get an opening statement from the Republican representative. Both of those are nearly a half an hour, if not longer, in themselves before you even get into the questioning. So it could be, lunchtime before we get any kind of actual comments from Fed Chair Powell coming up tomorrow and Thursday. So just so everyone is prepared. That being said, a ton of data to come this week, including our very own Bank of Canada expected to hold once again on interest rates coming up this week, and then we get the EU. You tell me, what do you got your eyes on here?
Yeah, I think it's the same game globally, right? Which is no one likely to cut at this meeting. Bank of Canada has been the Canadian economy has been one of the stronger major economies of this whole last 3 years since the pandemic, really, right there with the U.S. and the U.K., some of the stronger global economies, and they've gotten up to 5% interest rates. And thus, the thinking has been with the U.S. and the U.K. and Canada is there's more room to cut, right? And maybe more potential weakness coming for a Canadian dollar or a U.S. dollar or a British pound. But the numbers haven't really said that. The numbers that were the strongest, in the U.S. and U.K. and Canada relative to a Japan or an Australia or a China, obviously having a lot of problems with their economic data. It's stronger on the way up, and it's been so far, though no one's really on the way down, potentially stronger on the way down. So I don't know if I would expect Canada would be the first one to move, but with the idea that globally, every major central bank is looking at potential cuts coming, Brendan, I guess, except for Japan, obviously, but that's a whole different story. They never hiked. The question for me going into the Bank of Canada meeting, going into the ECB meeting, and then of course leading up to the US's FOMC in a couple weeks, is who, finally puts a relatively structured timetable out there. Because you're exactly right that the question no longer is really going into this year. It was, okay, how many times is the US going to cut? Are they going to cut 6 times or 7 times? And the same with Canada and the ECB and everybody else. But now, since the numbers have not really gotten to where these major central banks have wanted, and we're already a quarter into the year almost, the question becomes, will any of them tip their hand to, we're looking at a cut at the next meeting or the next couple of meetings? Because, no one has gone that far. Especially the U.S., but also the ECB has been very hawkish, even though they've had relatively weaker data than the U.S. But what's your take? What's the feeling on the ground there in Canada going into the BOC?
We had a couple of notes from banks and analysts last week suggesting, one of them specifically was suggesting that we'd be at 2.5% this time next year. So leaning in the sense that not only are they going to start cutting, but they're going to be cutting in a hurry because this economy is maybe not as strong as the data has been suggesting, as you referred to there. We get this job openings number before we get the non-farm print coming up on Friday. What do people need to take from that job openings data specifically? And then give me your thoughts for Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So the number is, it's similar to your NFP, and in theory, it would be correlated. Non-farm payrolls on Friday is a bigger number. Right now, it's next to CPI. It's the biggest number, and that's going to let you know how many jobs are added. The JOLTS job openings number is the number of job openings in the U.S., and so different, but you'd expect correlated. And the expectation for this JOLTS number tomorrow morning, Brendan, is 8,900,000 or 8.9 million. And so that is a little bit less than the last number that came in. And you'll remember the last 2 data points are actually pretty good examples because the data point before last, the JOLTS number came in lower than expected, and then non-farm blew out expectations. The last time, the JOLTS number came in higher than expected, and non-farm payrolls came in higher than expected. So a lot to take in there. One, these numbers don't have to be correlated. It doesn't have to be, the JOLTS number was up, and so non-farm payrolls has to be up, and so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. They are a little bit of a different metric. Another thing to take is that this JOLTS number has moved markets the last couple of times. You and I feel like have jumped on the first week of January and February, Brendan, to talk about the non-farm payrolls number coming. And we've already seen a huge move in the market because of the JOLTS number on the prior Wednesday. And so I'll definitely be looking to this number. Like I say, the expectation is that there's less job openings than there were the month prior. And so, and the same with the non-farm number is expected to be 100,000 jobs added less than the prior month. And so again, these numbers are expected to come in lower. If they come in where they were last time or higher, that could potentially push off the talk of interest rate cuts even further, push more strength into the US dollar. But for right now, stocks and gold and some of these other markets are kind of a toss-up as to what they'll do. They seem to be very much on their own, regardless of U.S. interest rate and currency price action.
Yeah, impressive for gold specifically over the past couple of days here, just quietly in the background at all-time highs, along with Bitcoin until about 10 o'clock this morning, and then that didn't last too long. So, I mean, let's look out to June, first of all, going into Fed Chair Powell tomorrow and Thursday. Still pointing towards a cut in June. How much that will be remains to be seen. Maybe we'll learn more about that tomorrow. And then, as you said, these 3 markets specifically, Bitcoin, gold, and equities overall still don't seem to care.
Yeah, it's crazy how the correlation between those markets to each other and to the interest rate story in general has completely died because you're seeing right here. I don't even need to crunch the correlation numbers because you're seeing, okay, an S&P at pretty much all-time highs. I know it's down today, but let's face it, it's a rounding error from all-time highs still. A gold market that is trading through highs since they started trading gold futures. I don't have gold price data going back to the 1800s and beyond, but pretty much in terms of trading purposes, highs for the gold market. And you have a US dollar market that is still right there at highs against yen, within a few pennies of highs against the Australian dollar, and not far from highs against, although Canada, your currency is held in relatively well. This dollar is still, all being said, relatively strong, not all-time high strong, but stronger than you would imagine for an all-time high stock, gold. And yeah, you throw in Bitcoin is right there within a couple $1,000s of its highs going back the last several years since that market came to fruition. And U.S. interest rates, the middleman for a lot of those relationships that I'm lining up there, they're not crashing, right? Like gold, a non-interest bearing asset, you might expect, oh, gold's 2150, interest rates have to be sinking. They're ebbing and flowing, but 10 years still above 4%. The 2-year and the 5-year, I'm pretty sure across the Treasury curve, everything above 4%, and some of them around 4.5%. And like we're talking about here, the expectation for the Fed to cut rates got pushed out from March to May, and now potentially on to June. There's still about a 20 to 25% chance of the cut in May, but that's kind of been coming out of the market. And it seems like all of this is pointing towards a, one of these things have to give kind of scenario, right? Where if interest rates are going to stay high, they're not going to cut as many times this year, Brendan, as anticipated at the end of 2023, then U.S. rates might move higher and U.S. dollar might move higher. And we'll see how sustainable all-time highs are for gold and stocks and some of these other markets that are doing their own thing, but maybe are getting a little bit of a tailwind from the expectation of rate cuts. On the flip side of that, is the U.S. stock story and the crypto story and the gold story kind of a precursor or a tell that, yeah, we're seeing back and forth in the interest rate market and the U.S. dollar market, but the expectation is still that they're going to move lower at some point. The question is just when, like you and I are talking about here. We're in a bit of a holding pattern right now for all of those markets, all of them sitting either at highs or not too far from highs. And it seems history would tell you that that's not sustainable. A couple of them are going to come off, and a couple of them might move even higher to new heights there. But a really interesting setup for the Powell testimony and all these central banks starting to meet here in early and mid-March. And yeah, the non-farm payrolls is going to be huge this week for moving around those interest rate and dollar markets. But yeah, we'll see if it moves around. The stock and gold and crypto markets seem to be on their own track here.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, today set that aside, I think. Today's the first day it kind of feels like there's more participation to the downside right across the board. Not much follow through here this afternoon, but we'll see. Lots to come over the next few days. Great to have you as always. Frank Cabernas, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Thank you, sir.
Guys, go make sure you check it out. Scan the QR code right now. I mean, What a smart individual that Frank
He
Verna
is.
is there. Talking about how the Canadian dollar has been holding out. That's been nice. That's interesting to hear what Brendan mentioned. They're looking for sub 3 here in Canada. That's pretty good for everybody that needs to potentially refinance in their mortgages and stuff like that. So I think that's good. I think that also does help, obviously, the car business as well.
Big time.
Because if the
Big
rates
time.
can come back in, then we should be getting, a couple more, financing opportunities there with some of the car companies. So yeah, good talk there. Apple making moves, and I don't know. Did you settle out on anything? Nothing really
The bounce
happened.
did not happen in the market,
No,
but I did get trailed out of Amazon somewhat in anticipation. Like Amazon, you just come to my chart for a second. Yeah, Amazon came down to the 173.5 and then immediately caught a bid right at the 50 level. So we shorted 74s and then 50s just had this buyer. So I'm like, okay, I'll trail it in case we do get that bounce, and I'll get out. The second I got out, it went a couple more cents and is now just going sideways. I'm still in Intel. Intel broke the bottom. Intel just continues to slide at 42.80 now. If you're looking for a bottom here, well, I can go to the higher time frame to show you a real bottom, but 42.5, that looks like a good level. If not, if we end up making a bounce here in the markets, I don't want this thing back above 43. But on the daily chart, where could this be headed? Why not 41 bucks? Down 6% today. This was the bottom after earnings, was $41. The bottom in December was $41. It's double tapped $41. It was just here last week. So I kind of feel like Intel, we'll see if we get another short to pop today, but at least going into tomorrow, there's a little bit more room left till it gets to what seems like obvious support on Intel at 41. Down 6%. Can't say that enough. Remember, this was a rocket ship yesterday.
Yeah, we were just talking about some of these names kind of changing a little bit of course here. Intel. I always feel like if money starts to come out of NVIDIA and AMD, it might actually go back into Intel, because I don't think that there's anything wrong with any of the chip names. It's just a matter of like when you get SMCI action, it's the shiny, bless you, it's the shiny toy there. And it's like right now, there's a lot of traders like myself, like Neil, that we talk about wanting to short Intel, but realistically, I mean, some of the money and some of the air is going to come out of some of these names. It doesn't seem like that's happening anytime now, but for here, I could see saying to yourself, hey, look, the forward PE, and I have to look these up. So maybe the forward PE at some point is going to be a little too expensive for NVIDIA, and potentially because of where Intel's going, you get some upgrades, some downgrades, some change in numbers, maybe a guide before their next earnings report or something like that for Intel. And I could see a lot of money coming back into here. Whoops, my thing is going. There it is.
I'm a buyer of them in the 30s.
Oh, in the 30s. Okay, I was going to say, like, we're holding out. It's kind of like the same thing of Google down here at 130. Like, you're still holding out here. Where is the 200 period? I mean, unfortunately, this is going to take a minute to load up here, so bear with this for 1 second. So yeah, so it's kind of like what I was saying right here, 39. I think Intel's fine down here, man, but
the 41 support gives you some room to play with.
I just think it goes to what you say. Take money out of one sector, but maybe put it in the same sector, but into an ETF or a better name.
Yeah, like if I was selling AMD, or I have, look, it's NVIDIA that I've been buying the last couple of years. I have AMD shares that are old, so I can't really say, like, it's not like I've been buying them, but if I don't want to be in AMD, let's just say, if I took it out, I don't know that I'd put the money into Intel. I kind of feel like I'd put that money into the dollar cost average into the index and just maybe come out of the chip space altogether, or buy a dip in NVIDIA. One of those two things. Not that I'm selling AMD. I don't know if I'd put it into Intel yet. I really thought their quarter wasn't that good. I like them for the long term for the foundry play. You just got, again, some signs that there's more tensions between China and the U.S., more military spending over there, depending on what happens with the elections. I still think there's going to be some protectionism with regards to where your chips are coming from and who is actually making them. And I'm not talking about designing the chips, I'm talking about making the chips, because it's all TSM, and Intel's trying to get into that business. Long term, I think that's difficult, but it's a winner if they can. Someone just said Tesla. And yeah, Crazy Stitch Lady, Gelsinger was buying in the low 30s, that is correct. But the 25 level is a really good one on Intel. That's why I say the 30s are better. Tesla broke the 180, not degrees, but like the 180 level while we're talking to Frank, and just rejected underneath it. So down 5%, it was strong over VWAP. I'll zoom out so you can see it better. Support at 180, into resistance at 180, sign me up. If we're short till we're not, in a general sense in the market, then why not work off of this 180 level in the other direction? It's clearly been a key level all day long. rejection here and then support there, and now you're going to break under. If the market wants more to the downside, why not Tesla at the 180 level?
I could see it. I mean, Bitcoin's trying to go back up here, 62.2, so a nice little bounce up about 1,500 or so.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like we broke 60.
I don't think we broke 60, did we? I mean,
Yeah, we did.
I mean, I was just watching it here. Here, you can
Yeah.
come over and see. There it is. Oh, let's go to a 15-minute chart. Yeah, 50. Not wow.
What?
Okay, so you want to talk about a little bit of a whoosh? Look at the volume coming
Oh, man,
in there.
should have been
7,000
should've bought
bitcoins.
that.
I mean, it's a 15-minute chart, but nice little whoosh down there. Let's just hold on a second.
Remember we were talking about those the even reversal trades?
I'm just hearing in my ear, Binance is laying off staff. I'm not, you know, just hearing this. See you, dude. Where are you going? Appointment. Okay, I see you, Fabian.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like, where's he going? Like, I didn't realize he was leaving for the day.
He had like a box in his hand like he was making a delivery.
Right, I was like, he doesn't have to tell me he has an appointment, but shout out to Fabian. And Ramin will be on the 1s and 2s there, so shout out right there. Yeah, I thought he was just going to go get something, but he's gone for the day, so okay. All right, so 62.5, yeah. So there's a nice move down. We've seen this before.
If that was a wick bottom, maybe
I bought IBIT. The funny thing is now I just look at like what I bought IBIT at. It's a 34.30s, so still in the money on this one. But yeah, Bitcoin. We'll keep watching it. It's just funny. I'm using Binance. I'm hearing reports about Binance, but there it is. So there's a yeah. Look at that, man. We wicked all the way. Yeah. So that's where I bought it. I bought it on the 3rd. So this is obviously tracking really well.
Yep.
I bought it when it broke through 60,000 and 34.30 is my price. So that's basically where it bounces from. A nice move upside right now. It's getting a little spicy on that. A little bit of spicy meatball. I know Adair doesn't like the spicy meatballs, but we have to have a little spicy sandwich.
No, it was the jerk chicken.
No, I know, but we had, you weren't here, I think, the day I asked her what her favorite sandwich was. And it was like anything that wasn't spicy. And I was like, you don't like spicy
yours,
sandwiches.
Montreal smoked
you know
meat?
what I'm saying? Mine?
Yeah.
No, man, meatball. I love meatball subs.
Oh yeah, you're Italian.
I'm not a huge.
I mean, why did I even ask this stupid ass question?
Yeah, or like a nice salami or something. But Montreal smoked meat, I like it, but I don't like it as much as everybody else.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I'm a sucker for
like salami and all that.
with a good mustard, like real mustard.
Yeah, well, you always got to put that sort of caveat in.
My wife, we'll do we don't really do hot dogs. We do like sausages, right?
Right.
But
We're having sausage tonight, actually.
she'll put like that, I like real mustard. She'll buy that generic. What do you even call that stuff? It's not real mustard, but like that. You know what I'm getting at? Stuff it's like a Heinz, but it's not even Heinz. And why would you ever choose to do that when like the French's or whatever one of those brands are?
Yep.
Over
We have French's, I
a
think.
really quality, you get the grains and it's like so good. A Dijon, like who chooses that over a Dijon on your sausage?
It depends what kind. Like if you have. If you have like a big,
love my wife.
like a hot dog is nice
Come on.
with the yellow mustard.
No, still
On a hot dog?
still quality mustard. I am never compromising on a quality mustard. No, denied.
I mean, but ballpark dogs have the normal mustard.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. When I'm at the game, I'm not. What am I going to smuggle some Grey Poupon in my jacket?
Okay, so bad news here
I mean, I
for
probably would, but-
Chinese EVs and every.
I just got Tesla just came back up into that
nothing's
180.
happening.
What's happening?
Oh yes, actually, it's good news for Tesla. I have it right here. It's
What-
nothing crazy. No, it's
what's the
nothing
news?
crazy. Senator Rubio here.
Hey, I haven't heard.
Hey,
from
what's
him
up,
in a while.
Rubio? Proposes to impose. So it's like, proposing this.
So that's good for Tesla.
Yeah, $20,000 tariffs on Chinese automakers. So proposing that, but as if that's going to get passed. Like
I just
mean,
flatted Tesla on that, and it was like,
you think they're going to do that? You actually think that the United States is going to do that, and then all of a sudden have China start imposing stuff on? Like, I don't think you need to look. President Trump could just be around the corner here, so there could be a lot. And this is what I was talking about with FXI and some of the Chinese names. Like, this is not a talk about politics. This is a talk about the stock market. Because if you start getting turned around here, and we've already seen how bad FXI has been, and you start to have some kind of a battle between governments or just, I don't want to say threats, but I feel like it's a little calm right now. I mean, Biden.
That is
all they're doing right now is talking about like, oh, okay, we'll impose this tariff on those chips. Oh, you got it fixed. Okay, it's all good. Like, I know there's some AMD news today, but like if this FXI really gets going, we've had a nice move back up to the upside. So I just worry about that. So watch out for the FXI ETF there. This is just Senator Rubio, like.
Boo, Ricky.
I don't think he's going to be. too influential there, but we'll see.
I just said Ricky Rubio, Marco Rubio.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ricky
basketball.
Rubio.
Ricky
yeah.
Rubio was the
Is
guy.
he still in the league?
No,
he had a
he's
couple
no way
good years.
He's on the.
No, he had.
He's not.
Was
still
it last year? A couple years ago? Ricky Rubio.
He's not still in the league. That's my bad. Obviously, I'm not
still in the league.
Like
really?
I'm not throwing
Was he in
shade at
China?
Marco Rubio. It's
Ricky
just
Rubio,
I don't know.
NBA.
One of these two is more famous than the other. I actually punched out a Tesla for 5-cent hit on that, just because it was. I like the level, but if news is going to happen, I don't have to trade that stock, and that would seem at least a little bit positive for Tesla. It actually would have come back in the money for me, but I'm just going to stay away from it for now. Bitcoin's still rallying, by the way.
How do I see
There's no way he's still in the
Yeah, last year he played with the Cavaliers. No, so he signed a deal with Barcelona this year.
Okay.
But this is his first year out of the league, yeah.
All right, good for him.
He had 18 minutes last year.
He's been around for a while.
18 minutes, 5, 3, and 3. I don't know. Anyways, wasn't he number one pick or number?
He was
top
no,
five?
he was a lottery pick for sure. I don't know how high it was. He's definitely
He had some handles and everything.
that 5, 3, and 3 is a lot better than Stephen A. Smith.
It was Minnesota, I think he had his best years with, I believe. Anyways, all right.
What else we got going on here? Yeah.
Oh, we talked about not reloading Uber, and Uber just came out. So I was looking at this. We only had 10% left. You could see 9 outs here. Like I wasn't sure about this name, but again, I really like Uber, and I think that I could pick some up down here. Like if this can get to 75 again, I really think that that's a buy.
Really, I like 70. Like,
Oh, so do I. I like every price lower than that.
I am
but
so married to the moving averages now that I'm just like, whatever. If we pull back, I'm just waiting. Wait.
Is there going to be a pullback?
But I wasn't really selling much of anything anyway, so it's like, whatever. What's the point? Like, I didn't sell any Uber. The 50 period's at $68. Like, we're talking about 15% from the 80 level, and we're at 79 today. So, like, you need healthy pullbacks to get back to some of these reasonable levels. By the way, Uber, I didn't reload it either, but I forgot to mention this. I actually got out on the lower high while Frank was talking. Look, it's a barcode anyways, and now you're potentially breaking out. So I'm going to stay away from that. I might have gotten away from Tesla for bad reasons. Just going to throw that out there. But I am having a quick look-see at what's going on with this crypto rebound, because we're back at 62. Have a look at Mara. Like, Mara bounced not much relative to, like, look at the bounce in BTC. These are different time frame charts, but that's a big wick through 60. Back to 62, whereas you're getting a gentle climb. If there is any curl, I'm thinking Mara short. I was short this off to 23 and scalping it just before lunchtime, and I had the worst out ever. Like, it was like going sideways. I'm like, yeah, this is working pretty well. I keep getting 20 cents. And then it stops out. I got up to go get my lunch. And then that happened. So 23 looks pretty solid, as long as you're not still ripping on BTC, because Mara's been just relatively weak for days now.
It's too bad because we just had a opportunity to buy Disney there at the bottom and I missed it. And then I just saw someone in the chat. So I'm going to say shout out to whoever that was there in the chat. What's up to R. Damon, I guess, there.
Oh, look at
Shout out. Disney close to bottom. I was just looking. I actually have bids. So you come back here and I just put bids there at 47 and 50 on Disney. Like I could have punched long and I didn't. I put the bid at 47. Just sat there.
Michael made a call yesterday in the aftermarket show, and after NYCB, it was KRE. This is KRE today, and the other one I was like, I was basically like, good luck with that. Was natural gas.
XBI.
It was nat gas.
And they're both getting killed. Or?
No. KRE's up big today, but then nat gas did like this. Was there something on that? I don't know what this was.
What day is it
1:30.
today now?
No, it's Tuesday, so it wouldn't have actually been a number. But nat gas up 2%. That said, if nat gas isn't up 10%, it didn't move. I mean, that's not really true, but it's kind of true. Like, this has been in such a nasty downward trend. I'm not even sure he got into them. I feel like he was waiting maybe for this to look stronger, but either way, it's called the Widowmaker for a reason. Our futures don't really track back, so you get the front contract that kind of just stops there. But trust me when I tell you, the trend is much worse than this in natural gas to the downside. It just keeps going and going and going, and it's already spring. Like, we basically didn't even have a winter here. I mean, it speaks for a lot of people as well, which is part of the pressure that you see on natural gas. But KRE, different story. That's been strong. The NYCB, it was basically just them. No one else had any issues, and you got this nice higher low, and now a bit of a consolidation, potential breakout on KRE.
I'm just putting RSI up on here because we have a question. I'm going to address it in a minute. We are long Disney, by the way. I told you we were sitting there. So, all right, style. I'm just going to change this a little bit here. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. We don't really need to see, maybe I need it a bit thicker. All right, so just looking down here at Disney. So you're not really trying to buy too many. So this is the 75 period, or no, we have it marked as 70. Okay, probably should be 80. So we're gonna mark down 80s and 20s. So right now, we are still a little high up on the RSI for Disney, but the talk was ANF. So we'll go over here to Abercrombie and have a quick look at this one, right? Like I don't even know what it's at right there, but there it is, 85 right now. I don't know if that's completely accurate. I have never really called up on our charting RSI.
Why wouldn't it be right? I mean, you can tinker with some of
Why
the
wouldn't it be right? Yeah,
outputs,
good.
Why wouldn't it be?
Funny, good point. But right there, you can see we do have a top there. We've been here before on this kind of an RSI, 80s before, and that coincides with a little bit of a dip from 92 back into like 84, 85. And then we've been up here before, but unable to break. So this is just getting well off again, ANF. I mean, their reporting date here.
Tomorrow morning.
Oh, is it tomorrow morning? Okay,
Yeah, that's why we're even bringing it up in the first place.
Okay, so we'll have to pre-market.
I don't know
March
what
6th.
time they report in the morning. I feel like it's earlier than some
I
of
feel
the
like you have to have puts on this. I don't know why
like
it's up
look
here.
at this move.
It's just a monster move with a short float of 12%. So 12%, monster move up, options volume plus 440%. So you're definitely in the right name. Only a $7 billion market cap. Maybe there is something there with ANF tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that, but let's go over and have a quick look at the earnings board if you can. Yeah, so I wrote down on the sheet tonight that we'd look at Ross, we look at Nordstrom. I mean, there's so much. I want to look at CrowdStrike for sure. I didn't actually look at tomorrow morning yet, so normally I don't want to focus too much on it because those numbers won't come up, but shout out to Campbell's Soup, you know?
I guess charge point.
Foot Locker, I feel that Nike's been on an okay rebound. I actually have to go check that out if that's still above 100 or not.
JD, that's a bit.
I mean, Nike's going to get hit on. You know what? Nike worries are going to be a problem now with. Foot Locker probably downside, honestly, with China. Yeah.
If you're not bullish on Nike, how you like some Foot Locker?
Yeah, I think Foot Locker is going to be downside there. I'm starting to get bullish on.
Who even likes the upside tomorrow? What
Chinese names?
What out of these?
JD
names?
is there bearish again on JD Chinese name.
I don't see anything I feel that great about.
No, neither
to the
do I.
upside. Yeah, I don't see much of anything I like it. Like CrowdStrike, we already saw most of the cybersecurity names have been under pressure and have had poor guidance, so why would they be any different? Sometimes when you report at the end of the cycle, it's like, well, you kind of know what everyone else has been saying, so maybe you get a surprise there because everyone feels like they've been weak, I guess. But yeah, nothing looks that fantastic in terms of looking for upside, but you know what the good thing is? When you're trading, who cares? It's like you can just short.
Right.
You can short weakness, which is the advantage. And no one's happy that a company goes down. Like I have nothing against, just as an example, I have nothing against JD.com. But that just took out, come on, daily chart. Nah, whatever. I'll go to the 15-minute. That just broke some serious support in the last couple of days and has been trending down in earnings, which sometimes means a relief rally. But a little bit nasty the last couple of days going into earnings for JD. I got to slap a trail on Intel here. You're starting to slow down. It's 317. It just got to the 75. If it gets back above 80s, I'm going to get out of this trade. I'm going to go back over to Tesla. Yeah, Tesla is holding this 180 level, so maybe it was right to get out of Tesla here. After that Marco Rubio note, I guess it would be a bill.
Ricky?
I know.
Ricky. Okay, so.
And I said it like 3 times. I said Ricky Rubio 3 times.
Yeah. Ricky Rubio's not too concerned about Chinese EVs.
How do you know?
Maybe he is.
For all you know, he endorses. He might be like.
He could be invested in it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I never thought about that. What was I thinking? All right, so there it is. So we are long now at 37. We just took some out at 44 on Disney. So we're going to wait to see if that comes through there on Disney. Just hearing about some disruptions again at Coinbase, but it's not really moving, so I wouldn't worry about it. I'm just giving you guys the news. Just like if I hear something, I'll try to give it to you. I just want to bring up that, I'm listening to the Squawk with Benzinga. So if anything comes out on that, we'll let you know. And if I ever see anything, again, sometimes you just hear stuff and then it's not printed yet. So it could be absolutely nothing, again, with Coinbase. So we'll check in on that. It looks like it's making moves to the upside right now. If Disney does fall through 112.25, which is the low of the day, we're at the low right now. So if Disney falls through here, then it's be see you later as Bob Iger comes in and says that he thought the direct-to-consumer business could be net profitable by 2024. Well, the market doesn't really believe that now, does it? Nice move to the upside right there. Whether or not they believe it, he could have said other negative aspects potentially that cause this to go to the downside. So we'll watch out, but here it goes. This one could be an L, man, but I'm happy trying that. A shout out to you guys in the chat. We did come back down into the bottom of the day there. It's only down 1.2% against the NASDAQ and the ES that is down more than that. So I'm fine taking this shot. You know, when you lose on names and they don't go the right way, it's like if I lost on the Apple long, then I'd be peed off because I've only been short Apple today. And that's what we've been looking for. So I'm looking for this long. We took some out at 44s, which wasn't great, 7 cents. Looks like we will have to suffer through about a 13, 14, 15 cent hit as we break through 12.25. That's my stop. We're not stopped out yet, but coming out very soon is going to be Disney as we dance around these lows, unfortunately.
Here's a question for FTMO in the chat.
What's up, FTMO?
Oh, you just said NASDAQ will fall 11% in total.
From when?
From that's see, every single. It's exactly
I agree with
my
that.
question. It's I just want to know like from today, from right here where we are, or from the highs is always the question that I want to ask. I'll throw it up on a weekly chart. I'll throw the Qs on a weekly chart, and because that's what matters. Like you've already started, I suppose, today with a bit of a pullback, but I mean 11%'s not even on a weekly chart. The 50 period is down at 375. So from here, like that's more than 11% just to the 50 period, and we've already started pulling back in. So that's not even remotely unreasonable. I don't think it's just a question like from the tops, whatever. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but individual names are going to do their own thing. And I think you got to take your dip buys, wherever you happen to like an individual stock. Like Tesla has already dropped a bunch. Like Tesla's pretty weak, so I think it can go a heck of a lot further than 11% to the downside. Like I think Tesla could fall another $30 from here until it gets to the 150 level. So that's obviously a little bit more. Apple is within $5 or $6 from where I actually think I want to buy it next because it's already fallen into a support level. So everything's a little bit different. But 11%, I don't think that's even remotely impossible. 50 period on the weekly, that's a garden variety pullback in a bull market.
All right. We just, I think you can pull that back. I was thinking 20% could be possible, but again, it all has to start with the chips. So if they don't fall, then it doesn't matter. So we just got out some more here as Uber just goes right back up. So I just want to let everybody know that our average price here on Uber is 36s. So now you're back up, or sorry, Uber, on Disney, my bad. On Disney there is 36. We already got out of our Uber trade. So here it comes back into the 40-42 area. We'll see if we get a 47 fill is where I was sort of waiting, ahead of 50, and then maybe we climb back up. So right now, nice little dip buy opportunities there. I don't know. We're just kind of like stacking it up a little bit here again today. We actually have a graphic for that, and we'll just see if it prints out for us or not. So that's what I'm kind of looking at now into the close of the day. We'll see about Uber Disney if it can go back up. Apple just as good, man. Apple just hit back down again. So we did not short. We talked about possibly shorting that 200 period, and actually on Apple, I was waiting here at 26. That's hilarious. It went to 25. I wish I didn't even see that. Now I've sort of lost my appetite again. We'll punch some out here at 86s. Boom. There it goes to the downside. Oh, man, that's too bad because we did have that level there on Apple. Oh, man, that went literally 1 penny away from us there. We were waiting right at the 200.
Microsoft's at 400.
Okay, the market's starting to fall back in here. So, yeah, Disney. Why am I keep calling Disney Uber? That's so weird. All right, so we'll take some more out of this one. Getting close to getting out, man. 112.25. And whether or not it's Uber or Disney, we'll be getting out of DIS. So hopefully that drops in and fills us a little bit more for the long and then rips up. But we're a couple pennies away from getting stopped out here on Disney.
Just in Apple, Amazon won't, nothing's popping to get back into some shorts there, so I'm not going to get back into Amazon. Bitcoin is still kind of bouncing here, so no curl just yet. If that curls, I might go over tomorrow for a short. But I'm going to watch this 400 level on Microsoft going into the imbalances in 350. I mean, you could easily see, if there's a bounce and we reverse, 400 Microsoft would make a little bit of sense. I don't want to short a breakdown this late in the day. It doesn't feel like the right thing to do. Mara's already pulling back. That's how weak it is. Like, it's already starting to give back when Bitcoin isn't even turning. I might short
It's
the
giving
next pop.
back, eh? Oh, that's so nice of it.
It tries its best.
you gotta give
You
back
know
to
what?
the market
Sometimes the best trade you
sometimes.
make is getting out. Like Mara was bullish this morning, and I was participating in the move to the upside, and then it had this wick here, and it did it twice. It tried to break 26 and a quarter, got to 60s, and slammed back in. Then it tried to break the quarters again, got to 50s, and slammed back in. I was like, that's not good.
Disney.
And then got out. And look at the flush. Sometimes you just need to get out of the way of something, and that can be your saving grace. Market's now bouncing, so maybe I'll take a shot at Mara, as we need a pop if I'm going to short something back in.
I'm just hitting that because we found a stock that got us that pop. So we'll take it all day, man. There it is. Disney, let's go. Shout out to you guys in the chat. We were both looking at it. So anybody that's there in the chat, man, we've got each other there. So that's a nice little move. Right back into the 50s now for Disney. So again, you know, right into the day's low. And like I say, you never know where you're going to sort of butter your bread here, honestly. And it's just like, we'll take that. It's a nice move up. We just got out 52 there, obviously. And we'll see if Disney wants to continue to go back up to the upside right now. And we'll see if we get another out in the mid 50s. And then maybe we get up here. I don't know. The market's not doing anything. It's still, I'd still like to be net short. I saw someone in the chat was like, come on, let's go. We need the market to go down so I can cover. I think that that's maybe part of what we could see here into the close is a potential covering, because this is a bigger move down than I don't know if many expected it, but this is, you know, we've broken 18,000. We didn't even really come close to holding that at all. It didn't, you know, the most we came back, I guess, was 980. So I guess we did try to come back in, but then boom, right from there down another 130 handles. And looky what we see right here.
We got hooky.
Remember, we talked about 17,880 coming in this morning. So it's not holding. So the next move down, you might not want to see where that is. So we'll wait. But like, could we come in tomorrow to a 17.5, 17.6 area, which is another 2%, and then you're starting to look at that 11% that viewer was dropping. There's some science in there. I think that there is some science there. So be careful with all that. We'll see if it does come through on the NASDAQ. Like I said, I sold some Disney today. I've been selling some positions. Not some positions, but selling some off just to raise some capital. Because again, I'm not confident enough to go short. I'm not short anything. I'd rather be long, but trying to raise here. So I'm in about, I was looking actually on my way in this morning at red lights, of course. And, you know, I was looking a little bit north,
As you
south.
really should.
Yeah, a little bit south of 10% across all the accounts in cash right now. So
You know what? I didn't
crypto getting a little heavy.
I know I'm less than that, but I don't actually know the number. I feel like that's not a number.
Then I raised more today, so I guess, yeah, I'm
I always have like a general sense of like, you know, okay, I know where my BTC is floating, and of course at this point, like my crypto has gotten significantly above the 5% mark that I'm usually into, and I still won't want to sell any, but I might rethink some of that. But I'm not sure where my cash. I know my cash is underneath 5%. Oh, no, it's underneath 6%.
What is happening with this world today?
I am into. Go ahead. I just got into Mara. I know I just got into Mara. We're shorting this little pop here. Bitcoin has kind of stalled out a little bit, and I'm missing a little bit of data there. But anyway, short off this lower high in Mara as we're going to Adara. I almost said Adara. Mara. Adara.
We have this company here, Science Biomedical, spelled PSY. They're a psilocybin company based in Canada, up 60% right now, and getting some huge pops off volume here as we head into the end of the day. Not seeing any news on them today, but it is worth noting they have a really small float here, about just over 4 million shares. So keep an eye on PBM. What's the strength heading into the end of the day, guys?
I was going to, it doesn't look like it's affecting anything, but DraftKings apparently having similar results of Coinbase having people not being able to log in and stuff. But I was just saying to Neil, it's kind of like, you know, we talk about this a couple times. First of all, Apple's trying to go back in, which is nice. We talked about the internet being down across a couple different down detectors and whatnot. So it's no surprise that maybe it's going to be hitting various things, logging into Coinbase, logging into DraftKings. And you know what, quite frankly, it's actually a good sign that people are reporting. This is the first time I've ever heard of like, hey, people are unable to log into DraftKings. Like that's kind of solidifying first mover advantage right there. Like I'm not hearing, oh, people aren't able to log into MGM bets or anything right now. Like it's DraftKings. People are going to DraftKings, obviously with their, I mean, the numbers are what they are.
Isn't FanDuel bigger than DraftKings?
I don't.
Aren't they? Look,
that
you
would be
know
a
more
legit-
about the gambling space than I do.
Well, evidently not, because I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, I mean, no, I know you do. I'm not that big into.
No,
I'm big into sports, but I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to that. But I've heard it before.
FanDuel.
I'm just sort of talking about like total dollars wagered. I mean, you can. I know like FanDuel's. What the heck is the? Now I don't remember the name of FanDuel's parent company in Europe. It doesn't really matter. We're not talking about market caps of the parent company. I'm talking about actual like dollars wagered. I always thought
People are like,
FanDuel was
which
bigger.
one is better? I'm trying
You guys
to
let me know. What else is moving? We know we've already mentioned Crowdstrike a couple times. See some people in the chat talking about their earnings. And it's still CRWD in the drop down. It is at the 50 period as we speak and trying to bounce. So this is an interesting level. It's already made its pullback, kind of reversing in here. That doesn't look like a horrible. I mean, if this is the stock I trade, I might have a look at that right at that 50 period. So it's made the pullback already, and if it goes any further, then you've bled a little bit more than what we saw Palo Alto do.
It's just funny.
Did we figure it out?
No, because, well, no, we did. So this is from Front Office Sports, and apparently back here, it says back in October, look at this. DraftKings capturing 31% of overall gaming revenue in the United States compared to FanDuel's 30. So I'm just saying it's basically the same. So, nice move to the downside there. They talked about it a little bit in this article about ESPN bets.
Well, then technically,
possibly coming.
Technically, it's DraftKings then.
So yeah, who knows? But anyways, I just think it's nice to hear that. Like if you guys are trading and own DraftKings, it's nice. Just that, you know, so people are still looking at it. So obviously,
I love this. Sebastian's like, you two are the best. Love your talking. What's interesting about it is, so we've known each other since high school. But we had our own trading floor. We sat on the trading floor for a while. Like I have this thing where if I'm thinking about something, I'm just gonna ask the question because I get curious, and if I'm curious, I want to know, and I don't want to know 20 minutes from now. I don't want to forget that. Oh, this is interesting. I want to know. It was kind of what drew me to that. Remember, and it was a nitpick of mine. I mentioned this to Sean on the podcast because you guys were talking about Abercrombie and Finch, and I'm listening to it, and I wasn't watching. And then he says, oh, it's been going so crazy. Let's pull up the RSI on this thing and see what it is.
That.
And I'm listening like, okay. And then you didn't say anything about it.
Oh, now I have RSI up here.
I'm like, okay, well, that kind of spoiled it. Like, I'm curious. I'm not watching. You need to tell me where it's at. Like, how far overbought is this thing? And we were just bring that to our attention. By the way,
that was a good suggestion.
No, it is because I think one of the things, if you listen to the podcast as opposed to watching it, then you need to hear the level. You know, you can't just say, hey, let's look at the chart, which you guys do a good job of. But that one particular case, I had no idea what the RSI was on Abercrombie Finch,
right.
and we brought it up today ahead of their earnings tomorrow morning. Back to the markets for a split second, which creatively enough are back at the lows because that's what they do. Again, VWAP's going to be off here because it's missing data, but not off by much. But this is now going totally sideways. So a bit of a pop in Mara. That's only a 30-cent move, top to bottom in there. So if it pulls back even 30 cents, I should be taking some out, probably even half that. Try and take some profit in the 40s on Mara. If you're tracking Bitcoin on that little rebound, it's just still going sideways. So bounce, sideways action. Mara's been weaker, obviously, so looking for short there. Short the relatively weak name when the others go sideways. I'm now trailing Intel because it's 330. If it breaks back above 80, I'm out. Like, look at it just go sideways off the 4280 level. So we reloaded it at 4310, and it cannot seem to break any further to the downside. So we'll just be a little bit patient with it. Robert says, with the hunger for knowledge consumes me, you're the same. Yeah, my wife is a little bit frustrated with that. Because I take it, I don't think I take it too far, but like we'll be having a conversation about something, and then I will, like, whatever we're talking about, like, I won't know the answer, and then I'll stop what we're talking and go, I need to go find that out. And I'll like pull up my phone or whatever. Now I just need to go research something. We could be looking up, like we're talking about renovations or something.
Right.
Like, oh, I don't know what this is, or I don't know what that would cost. And I'll just stop what we're talking about so I can go figure this out because I need to know. And then she gets really frustrated because It's like, well, we were just talking about.
Yeah, like we just had like a
exactly
casual conversation. And
Yeah.
then, before we go to an ad read, let's just do like this. We're cooking up again.
go.
Right now, Disney, right back to the 50-period moving average. So, I mean, you know, this is well cooked now. We'll take some more pieces out as we go over to the desk and find out what's up with the Dara.
Part of the show brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time screening and alerting used on our desk by many of our traders every day. See what's moving in the moment with Trade Ideas. Check out the link in the description for 20% off.
Like that, Trade Ideas. Yeah, we use Trade Ideas around here. So Anchor VWAP
Everyone
all
does.
part of Trade Ideas now. So.
And as a matter of fact, we were talking about that yesterday with not just Michael Noss, but Obi has been looking at Anchor VWAP. Which
Has he? Okay, Obi, I see you over there, Obi.
I don't know if I'm spoiling. He just gave me the look. No, you're using anchored VWAP now a little bit. He's learning how it's used to incorporate it for some ideas. And
I mean, I have a book for you, Obi, like how it's used. It's the next one on his to read list.
He's reading Brian Jan's book next. I just covered Intel trailing out of that one at 42.80. It's 335, but remember the early look on the imbalances, the source that we usually get it from, they've been down for a few days, right? So we actually haven't had that in a bit, but we can give you what's happening with the individual names just very quickly here for you. And not a lot. NYCB's up 750, bid of 750,000. MFC 2 million, but no big names in here on the early look for individual imbalances. We don't know the overall number. We'll find out in about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, I would have no idea where to get any information about Anchor VWAP or anything.
I can't figure it out either.
Like that.
Where would
Could
you,
be
Sean?
maximum trading gains with Anchored VWAP. We will be with tonight, and thankfully, he's a really great friend of the show. And it's Brian Shannon. He's going to come on tonight. Here he is right here. There he is. What's up, Brian? Ooh, 300,000. I'm jealous. Nice one. 300,000 followers. Shout out to Brian Shannon here. I guess this is what happens when you make a book, and a very successful one. Shout out Anchored VWAP. So there it is. If you want to find out about that, shout out to Obi getting edumacated up. So that's
got to get
really
your
good.
education.
Yeah, you got to get the education 100%. Going through there. All right, Disney, nice move. Apple, nice move. Zillow, nah. We could have got out of Zillow down there. Remember we were ringing it. We're like, oh, it's a $1 Club winner. But if we get past here, we're not going to stay in this for very long. So I'm going to now put in my Zillow again on a little bit of a report there coming from Bear Cave, 54.31. We just have these stop orders, so it's automatic.
What's the short?
I use Zillow. I think it's 4 or 5%. I don't think it's too crazy, but maybe it is. So the thing. I was going to say Adara and I, because I just heard Adara's name in my ear. But Neil and I will use, and I'll go to Adara in a second, I got to use stop orders because I can't just sit here and monitor all of these positions at once. So like if Zillow rips up here, if you're able to watch this and you start to see it going, you could always punch out. It's just, I'll need to revisit these levels. So in a couple minutes, I'll revisit it. It's 337 right now, so we're getting closer to those market on close imbalances, which can really affect where these stocks wind up. So we have no data on the early imbalances from Adara, but we have Adara with the story.
So there was an early market and closing balance is not in yet, but I do have for you guys some of the highlights, some of the things making bigger moves on the S&P 500 that maybe we haven't talked about. And that includes this move from Cadence Design here, CDNS, this one announcing an acquisition of this company called Beta and very much moving to the downside on this news. We also have Regions Bank, RF is the ticker on this one, on the on the New York Stock Exchange. This one up about 2.5% after announcing they've launched Visa Commercial Pay Mobile for some of their corporate banking clients. And last but not least, we have DaVita, DVA. This one announcing that it's expanded its agreements into Brazil, Colombia, and entering Chile and Ecuador for a total purchase price of $300 million. So good look here for DVA, up about 7%, guys.
There you go. And I just saw in the chat Philip Sanchez mentioning PNW is relatively strong today. Down 3% when Crowd is getting smoked into their earnings print. That's relative strength. Over VWAP, markets at lows and you're not at the lows when you generally speaking are following does matter. I marked this off here after earnings, and this is the $280 level because it felt like, so when this bottomed out here off the 260, this was the previous support level, and then it kind of, on the first green bounce, it closed right up at the 280 level, and then the next day it held 280. So I'm like, okay, well, that seems like an important price post earnings. It didn't quite get there today. But if it holds 280 on the way back in on Crowdstrike's earnings, if it can hold at 280, I think you could maybe revisit this 50-period moving average. So if I zoom further out, where's the 200 period? There you go. I had to zoom out further. So you can see the 200 period's still around that 260 level. But 280, I think the key price to hold. It's already made a nice bounce today, close-ish to it. Another one tomorrow on potentially a down print on Crowdstrike, and I'd like that long. I mean, as long as you're holding the 280 level, it's a good earnings level. I love the levels that get put in post-earnings because they give you something to trade off of for the next couple of days and weeks if you don't want to be trading it on that initial day. Let's see what's going on with only 10 minutes till the imbalances. I don't know if I get back into something. Maybe Intel can pop enough to get a 43 level. I'm pretty skeptical on that. AMD is super sideways off this 202. Maybe that was a scalp trade for you. Mara did give the first take at 2240 and now one out in front of 2215s here. So Mara is pulling back with Bitcoin sliding back down underneath 62,000. Mara down 13%. This one, yeah, like this, the way that it is outpacing any pullback.
Spicy meatball or what?
No, it's just if Bitcoin were to continue to slide. Like if Bitcoin saw 55,000, this might see the teens.
55,000, man. It's
Well, it's not that impossible.
heart palpitations. Yeah, I know. No. We want, hey man, more dips, the better for sure on that
Dip and
one.
rip.
We just tweeted out, guys, and go follow at TraderTV Sean if you want. We just tweeted out that we were able to find some longs there on Disney, and I just explaining like we had the bottom of the day. We had the bottom of the day there come through, and we talked about it live on the show that we're trying to find some dips. So here's 40 cents. A little bit of diamond hands. I think that's pretty good for Disney. Let's see what it does here into the close right there on that one. Apple's not being that spicy at all. So we're going to have to probably wait for these imbalances to come through. And I'm hearing in my ear again that there's some movement on DWAC. So let's go have a quick little look here. And I think,
Tuesday.
yeah, I was going to say, I think Sharif mentioned this morning on the show. I wasn't sure if it was Super Tuesday, but
It is, yeah.
it is. So there we go. Oh, it's moving to the downside though. All right, look,
Really?
I don't know why DWAC would move. I'm pretty sure that, President Trump will be getting the Republican nomination. I mean, I think she needs to pretty much sweep like the rest. And I don't know if that's happening. It's not even going to happen today.
You know what it's like?
By the way, SMCI is taking out days high, I think, right now.
No, what's going on with
yeah.
what's going on with Haley is like that scene from is it
Days High.
Rocky 2? When Adrian sees Clubber Lang and is like, "You can't win."
Can't win.
Someone needs to say that.
There's
Not that we talk about politics, but I just got our target on Mara. Mara just got down to the quarters. So I'll take that. We got 60s down to the quarters. Take the money and run. It's 341. But why is SMCI at the high of the day when the market's at the lows? That's a bit puzzling to me.
Well, I think it's, honestly, I was looking here, NVIDIA's out to 851 as well. I mean, some of these names are really starting to go. Again, it's...
How is this going to go green?
This is the thing. If you think about it, I think it makes a lot of sense. We talked about it again. We talked about it on the damn podcast again, where I said, I feel like Bitcoin will run into the weekend and then potentially do something like this. That's crazy that happened. But anyways, more importantly, how about this theory? What about the market being down today 2.23%? If the market's going to rebound tomorrow, who do you think it's going to be led by, right? So I could see, some of these chip names just being bought up into the close here. It may not happen, I don't know. But, NVIDIA 847 up to 851. Maybe we run into the close again on some hope that the chip names lift us out of sort of this rut that we're in. Because you know what's not going to happen? It's not going to be Apple that's going to do it. Like
It's not going to be Apple. It's not going to be Tesla.
I'm trying to think about the catalyst for Apple.
Seeming like Microsoft neither, because
I wish there was a catalyst for Apple, and I don't think Microsoft as well, same thing. It seems like Google's been getting hit to the downside. Obviously, that could still continue to go. I think Perplexity and some talk about Gemini and stuff like that.
I used them today.
Perplexity?
Well, only because Brennan was talking about
It's like a search engine one, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it's
this
pretty good.
Answer one?
It's pretty darn good.
But Google has
Pretty good.
Perplexity money. Google has money in Perplexity.
I'm not being against Google. I'm just saying it actually was pretty good.
I didn't look at it.
Hey, Microsoft bounced off 400 pretty nicely there.
Well, they have an Android app, eh?
That was it's hard to see because I got a bad wick in there, but good 400 hold on Microsoft. I'm gonna next to Microsoft on my iPad. I'm just gonna write the number 400 for tomorrow. Because if we continue to the downside, Microsoft losing 400 would be a pretty decent deal. The 50 period is just slightly underneath at 397. The 15-minute might be a little bit better. I don't know if it's that much better. There you go. Underneath 400, you've got 397 and then air, because Microsoft has been a bit of a high flyer. So this is you're into some key support here, which, hey, you could always bounce. You can easily bounce off that support. But if Microsoft loses this, today was the first really big down day in Microsoft since it was at the 420 level. If you get any continuation tomorrow through 400, and we got the Fed speaking, not the Fed speaking, we got Powell speaking in front of Congress. I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but yeah, you're getting into some big levels for Softy. Not that much of a pullback though, off the high. So you're really only talking about $20 from Microsoft's high. So it's like this could easily drip further than this, and it would be more than reasonable. This is, if I see the 200 period on this stock, that would be the one I'd want. Maybe even the most. I just don't see that happening.
Perplexity is pretty cool. It's pretty fast there.
It
I asked
is,
it about
I'm
who was
telling you.
Trader TV, and it gave me an answer right away. Okay, so that's good. All right. Okay, Zillow, again, we talked about having to look at this. I'm just trying to make sure that we have the right out. Still 31s, so I mean, we could adjust this to 25s. We'll just keep it, but it is there, so you could watch out for that. I just want to bring that to everyone's attention. There's a possible trade there in Zillow off of the 200 if you like the short, down 6% on bear cave note. I generally don't like to, I mean, Dizzy's a good example of this with only 5 minutes until the imbalances, and if you're wondering what these imbalances are, let me call them up for you. So right now, it looks pretty, we don't have the number, but it's all going to be a lot of what happens in the NASDAQ as well anyways. This looks like a lot of buys and sells, so I'd say it's pretty mixed without actually doing the math. Because NYCB is not very expensive, right? So this being 800,000 is not huge. Not like Visa sell of 1.5 million, considering into that stock price, So anyways, sell there. So we'll see if Visa can pair off. I'm not really seeing too much damage here at all. So we'll wait for that coming through. But so far, so good here as we wait to see what's up with some of these imbalances and dropping in 5 or 6 minutes. So we'll get some pieces out here again on Disney as it's trying to get a little bit higher. And then we'll wait to see, like I said, about these imbalances. So right now, Disney trying to go to the upside, Apple trying as well. We'll take another piece out. And we're just trying to top out now. So Zillow will come out. We may not have another trade, but join me tonight on the market recap show where we will go over, I was going to say Zscaler, but
Crowdstrike.
Right space, wrong name. And I just looked. It was actually,
What's the expected?
I wanted to say 10.5, but before
That is?
yes, that is what it is. Yeah, so there, oops. You can see CrowdStrike, just move it over to where it says previous
You
move.
should do like a guessing
Can't
game
put
for those.
There it is right here, 10.5. Oh no, sorry, my bad. Last move was 10.5, 13.5. Oh man, this stupid, I gotta get rid of that.
It's not that much more.
But there it is, 13.5. So here's CrowdStrike, 13.5. So that's a big mover tonight. Ross Stores is 6.5. Nuvea's there at 18, NVEI. Canadian payment company. Nordstrom's 11%. There's nothing else. I looked. And then tomorrow we have A&F.
Well, I mean, tomorrow morning, Abercrombie, if you can find the interest.
It's
By the way,
$6
I might
billion.
just be in and out of Intel right.
Abercrombie.
Okay, well, never mind. We're gonna go to Dara, but I'm in and out of
Maybe
Intel.
on
I thought I'd short
tomorrow.
43. I'm in and I'm immediately out. That's a little bit strong of a move. Sometimes I don't even care to hold it to my stop when I see that going into 350. Too much of a reversal. I was sitting there looking for those 99s, and it blew right through it. So I'll take that out. Just take a quick 6 cents hit and not try to fight Intel as we go back to Adara.
Yeah, Coinbase and Watch are heading into these market and close imbalances in a couple minutes. Coinbase saying that some users may be experiencing some errors while transacting. So this issue potentially acting up again for COIN, guys.
Though.
Yeah, I'm not feeling those stories anymore. I mean, thanks to Dara for that. But I just feel like we already saw that. We saw Bitcoin drop like $4,000 last week on that kind of news. If I don't see Bitcoin moving down here, if we come to the screen, then I'm not going to really worry about that stuff. But we will call up Coinbase. And I mean, good story there because you guys want to know, hey, where are the funds and are they secured? And apparently Coinbase has never had any issues securing the funds.
For the record, it's fine.
They're just having login or account details as well. And we reported a very similar outage potentially happening in DraftKings, and that stock has gone back up to the upside. Remember what we said could potentially run here into the close?
DraftKings? Well, the chips have been going.
They're gone. And I think this is what's leading it up because I'm sitting here and I'm watching Apple, although Apple's moving. Apple's not really moving. It ain't moving $5.
AMD's at 04, it's gone $2.
There you go. So into the close there, we don't have any imbalance information. I was sort of thinking that if the market was going to rally, if and buts, but.
You know who we get this week? There's one chip, there's a chip name left.
Is it Western Digital?
We've got Marvell left.
Oh, Marvell, okay.
Yeah, you got, so they can be, and, oh, that's not true. We have Broadcom this week. You've got
Marvell,
Marvell
they're not.
and Broadcom. Marvell is a mover on earnings, though. Like, I mean, a big-time percentage mover on earnings. And for the record, this is a chip name that hasn't really pulled back much at all. It's only down 1%. So this is, again, what are they, the 6th, and AVGO is the 7th. So they're worth watching, but the chips just made a move up. I'm glad I got out of the way of Intel. It's kind of continuing to go. And that's the thing. Like, I like the shorting the pop on Intel, but with only 10 minutes to go, you don't have to hold it. You can just get the heck out of Dodge. It was a good one, 43.10 down to 42.8, but just because it was good the first time doesn't mean it's good the second time, as the market is now flying to the upside. Yeah, Sebastian, Broadcom.
Yeah,
I keep saying every time we talk about what's going to split next, I keep thinking it's going to be AVGO. It doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't at some point. $1,400, man. Come on.
Guys, we only have 5 seconds left, but we are really lighting it up here on Disney. I mean, that was a big trade for us, so we really did well there at the end of the day. Okay, here we go. We are now out now. If we have it, Adara will give it to us, but what the heck? Why is this fading this way now? What the? What are you talking about? That's weird. Nothing. I was trying to get rid of these brokers, and normally I just go like this. Okay, there it is. Okay, now it worked. It was sideways the other time. All right, so there it goes. All right, MFC with a bid here. I don't know. Did we get that number? There it is.
1.7.
Yeah, 1.7 to buy. Okay, so a couple Bs flying around right there. So we have 50 cents in the money now on Disney. This was a good one, honestly. To end the day, I was pretty happy with that. And then we were pairing some off on Disney, on Apple, because I wasn't sure where we were. I'm going to go clean up all these stop orders. I don't need them anymore. Stops on Disney gone. Stops on Apple gone. Apple's gone to the downsides, which is really nice about that. We've been really well on that one. And then Disney as well. Let's just get out. Good couple trades here into the close. And that's that, man. What a good day it's been. Down for your account, maybe. But for trading today, it was a really good trade. We'll end near the high of the day, but we did take a hit on NVIDIA there, which won't put me at my highest spot. But NVIDIA will be right there. Apple's been huge today. Look, what? We just got... So that just hit 91s there. You don't even see the candle yet.
It'll catch up.
It'll catch up after 1 minute, but it just dropped in there on imbalances. So this can happen on imbalances. Yeah. We are getting out of our positions right now as we go. So that's it. Pretty good day.
Yeah, I'm all out. NYCB with a buy and balance of 1 million. For anyone that might be interested, of course, New York City Bancorp is still trying to find a bottom. It might have done so today. Relief rally of 17, I didn't even notice this. Relief rally of 17%. So maybe this is the start of a bounce for them. You finally held a double bottom and then broken. This will be on watch for me tomorrow. I was waiting for it to do something like this, where you find a low and actually hold that long the second day. Once that happens, look for the secondary push to the upside, which will be tomorrow. Maybe it's off $3, maybe it could be breaking out, but NYCB is going to be on my radar. Tim is in. Albemarle is making a move. They had an offering. Oh, they're still getting smoked. Wow, they dropped an offering this morning. Or was it overnight? It might have been overnight last night. It doesn't really matter. Down 18%. Yuck. Oh, that's not good. And it's flat bottom. At the lows, 108, this is going to be spicy tomorrow. It's going to be SSR. It's going to be at the 52-week lows after an offering. Great shout out there. Okay, you're right, Darwin, it was last night, but good shout out bringing this one to our attention. And Salvador, how is it? We keep asking questions like, how is SMCI this or that? Well, we know what's happening on the 18th, right? They're going to the S&P 500, and it continues to break out. It's 11% shorted. And that was just the last time we looked at it. For all we know, there's more people short this. It was 9%, I think. When it was down around $600, it was 9% short. And when it broke 1,000, it was 11% short. And when it pulled back off of 1,000, I'm going to make a wager that the people were adding to shorts down here as opposed to taking profits. That's just what experience would tell me, that people were adding, getting confident with those short plays, and now it's getting added to the index. Oh, it's getting ugly for anybody that shorts that stock, which I have never done, and I don't think, it's not even one that I would think about. Now you're breaking higher. Smoke them if you got them. This is absolutely insane. It could get to 1100 before we even close today, the way this is going. So NVIDIA is running, AMD is running. We already talked about Micron and NVIDIA. It's just absolute rocket ships. As the markets bounce like 60 points, and you're actually getting, this isn't even as big. I mean, NVIDIA is up like $5. It's SMCI that's going insane. B. Davis, Dell's probably making a move as well. I'm really glad that NYCB came to our attention, because that's the one name that we didn't look at any point today. And after a 17% relief rally, 17% is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for what this has done. When the relief rally comes to some of these depressed regional banks, they can be spicy. Maybe not SMCI spicy, but even a 2-day move, you can get like a good 30, 40 cent move on a $3 stock. I'm going to sink my teeth into that as well. Ryu saying never short semis. I never say never. I just feel as a trader, you can't have an attitude of there's a trade I would not make. If it sets up, you take it. Intel's down 5%. It's a semi stock. Okay, it's not a great semi stock, but it's still a semi stock. So there's always something out there. There is a long in the market every single day, no matter how bad it is. There's a short somewhere every single day, no matter how good it is. That's just the nature of the market. So never really say never.
Justin Bieber, never say never. But
see, those are the kinds of.
All right. So here we go. So we already got, okay, we got out of Disney there. That was a good take, obviously up there at one, like it went to 113. Give me a break. That's a good one there, and we're just going to exit out of Apple if we ever get filled on the bid, if and when we do that. Okay, so that's good. All right, yeah. I just want to look at, see what Crowdstrike is doing here into the close. All right, 297, nice move up for Crowdstrike. So again, $6 straight to the upside there ahead of earnings. That could be something interesting to look at for tonight. That's Crowdstrike. The other name was Target I wanted to look at here, as we have another name that reported. Coming back in, down 11% right now. Sorry, up 11%, but down into the close. 167 coming into play. Watch out for this possibly dumping through. And then we had Walmart. I'm just looking at some earnings plays because we have retail names. None of these, Walmart's not reporting, but Target did. Walmart's still holding above 60. So yeah, so far so good here. Into the close. That 1.7 billion to buy seems to have levitated this market. Just
jostled it up.
Yeah, so 117, 118, 17, 18,000 is now the target. So we'll see. Not going to get there today with only 3 minutes left, but we could get there aftermarket. But not too many major NASDAQ names reporting or anything like that. So just hold out on that one. I'm going to punch out of Apple now with a few minutes left, and then I will see everybody over at the big desk. It's the market recap show. And
keep an eye on this SMCI. I want to see if it gets to 11,000.
It's my God, in the aftermarket?
1100, sorry,
Yeah.
1100.
Yeah.
If SMCI goes to 11,000, some things have really broken
there.
In the market. That would be insane. But it's still, there is one red candle, and it happened, like it briefly paused when it got to yesterday's close. So it got to flat on the day, paused on a 3-minute candle, and then ripped another $25. Yeah, if you don't think, for people who are like, oh, this stock X can't continue to go higher, stock Y, like whatever, like you just, a move can't keep going. Eventually it has to pull back, blah, 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 blah. This is overvalued. The fundamentals say this, yada, yada, yada. A stock is going to do whatever it wants to do. And you learn that really fast when you're trading. And your only job when you're trading is to play off the price action. All the explanations in the world are not going to save you when a stock is trending. They just don't matter at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter what I think of SMCI. As I say that, I'm reminded of what is ARM doing. Yeah, ARM went as well. So AMD's, oh, thank goodness. I'm like, no, maybe ARM didn't go. I typed AMD out of a complete reflex. ARM is actually still down. So ARM is weak. This is information I like, because I got away from the ARM short, and it wasn't perfect. There were better names to short. Certainly could have waited for like 138 that never came. But look at this. As the other names go, ARM could not break 135. That's the information I like. I didn't have any levels set other than 138, but suddenly I like this 135 on ARM. When the market bounced higher, when the chip names bounced higher, when SMCI exploded, The same resistance all afternoon got held on ARM. That's where you know there's some actual sellers. And if you want to short something, okay, there's Intel as well. I'll throw that down, and then maybe some ARM. Everything else, you're just absolutely blowing to the upside. Keep in mind we're down 1.8% on the NASDAQ. Decent relief rally, but overall it has been a nasty, nasty day, despite the fact that we're going to press a little bit higher. There was an imbalance on NYSE. It doesn't seem to be moving it there. It was at the highs anyways. It moved like 3 or 4 cents, and there was a little bit of an imbalance on it. It's still there at 1.3 million shares, but it's done 50 million, so I question how significant that's going to end up being. Worth a look maybe tomorrow, but yeah, bit of a nothing burger on that imbalance. Again, 1 million into 50 million on the day. That's like a drop in the bucket. We got the last minute coming in. It's been a fun one, as always, for you guys. It's going to be a wild aftermarket and pre-market as well. What's going to happen to SMCI? Tomorrow morning, what's going to happen to ANF and JD? But tonight, Crowdstrike. You had a bunch of security outages today, and you got another big cybersecurity name going to be reporting after the bell. And they were under a ton of pressure already going into the print. So we'll see what happens with them. Keep an eye on PanW, because if PanW can hold some levels, if there is some kind of a huadunk on Crowdstrike, I think that would be a great sign for them holding that 280. Let's get the camera on Adara. We got the countdown in 4, 3, 2, and here we go. We're closed. Still down that 1.8. The ES was able to rally to only down 1%. Not bad, but not great either. You saw that crazy rally in the chips right at the end of the day. SMCI, I'm just going to quickly check the close for you there. SMCI ended up closing at about 1092 or something like that. Did not get to 11. It got to a 1098 was the actual high of the day on SMCI. So close, but no cigar. Shout out to Ram. Fabian had to take off. He had an appointment. So Ram on the 1s and 2s all afternoon by herself, doing a great job as always. You learned a little bit about, on the midday Learn to Trade, shorting breakdowns. Yeah. So on a trending short day, pretty good day to have that topic. Shout out to both Adara and Sharif for that. And Adara on the desk doing a great job as well. We had Jeff Mendel today. I want to thank Brendan this morning as always. He's so busy, I haven't even seen him behind me at any point this afternoon. But a fantastic interview with not just Jeff that we did today, but also with Frank Cabrera, one of our favorite guests. But you know what's up. It's the market recap, Crowdstrike, and more at the desk with Sean.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the Markets Recap Show. We have some exciting things today. Oh, you know what? I don't think I pushed save on the rundown, so it's the 3rd or 4th on the top there. You can probably find it there, Neil. And then we'll get that rundown going. It looks like, do you know what it looks like? A black and blue little thing there. All right, so we do have Crowdstrike coming up. So as soon as that gets hit, we will bring Crowdstrike to everybody coming through very, very soon. And there it is. Yes, sir. So we will have a nice sector recap. We had Bitcoin and IBIT. I actually wanted to call it Bitcoin here as well on Binance for spot BTC. But decent move to the downside here today. And here we go with crypto. It looks like it's trying to bounce a little bit. 62 right now, 62.1. So crypto markets to the downside a little bit here just recently on a nice move as we break through all-time highs today and then fade out a bit. So I feel like that's kind of like, you know, as expected there. We do have Crowdstrike out right now, so we're going to have a quick look at what Crowdstrike is doing. I'm not seeing any movements yet on Crowd. It looks like they are, the note that I have about Crowdstrike right here is actually an acquisition right now to acquire Flow Security to expand its cloud security leadership. So we'll find out about that. Raw stores now out as well. So gap 182 versus 165, that's a beat. A beat on sales as well, ROST. Let's go figure out what's going on with Rost. So a nice move upside, now fading back out. We have over here the yearly. So right now we are up 10.5% on the year. You switch it up and you're going to see nice movement to the high side right now for Rost. But as you can see, a nice little move down to 149 here in the after hours. We will check out Crowdstrike as well to see if that's doing anything here in that, CRWD, not CRWDT. I'm surprised, not really moving around. I don't really see anything on Crowdstrike coming out. Yeah, we will have Brian Shannon on the show this afternoon. That should be good. So So right now, the only story I have on CrowdStrike is that they are acquiring this Flow Security right now. So there it is right there, not out anything else yet. We did have a good report today, of course, and we'll keep Benzinga up there. So if I see it, I'll get that to you ASAP. We did have a good report today. Ooh, I guess this is a little bit, is my head getting cut off there or what? There it is. Oh yeah, Ramin's by herself here today. So let's wait to see if that happens. FXI today, not a great little move to the downside, as we did see some movement on Apple to the downside with weaker than expected iPhone sales possibly coming out of China there. You can see we had a nice downside push in Apple all day. Even from the open here for Apple, we'll zoom out a little bit. We actually had some 172s upside there on Apple, faded it out all day. Closing at 170, there's a lot of traders. If we flip it over to the daily chart here, you're gonna see there's a lot of traders that are excited about these levels. So watch out for 166 coming through possibly as a potential bottom. I could see that hitting maybe tomorrow for Apple. Nice move to the downside. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you, I thought this was pretty cool too. We use this on the main show. And it was just, maybe we can get off my, get me out of here and we can see what the worst case scenarios are here. Microsoft down 3, Google down 0.73, so bad. But Apple wasn't down as much as Softy today. So I feel like, although we don't have too many headlines about Microsoft, that's interesting to me. Amazon as well. So a lot of these big names. You know, also Caterpillar down 1.6. That's interesting. UNH can't seem to get off the blocks as well. So some of these Dow component names today with UNH to the downside. Newly instated Amazon into the Dow downside. Obviously Microsoft and Apple to the downside as well. Eli Lilly. So not a great day for some of these high-flying names. There's my guy over there right there with Uber as well, down 3%. So yeah, some damage being done across the board today in some big names. So it actually looks like right now Nordstrom's is out. So JWN now out, down 6.5 on this. Look at Nordstrom's, not as great as everything else, but you could see here, it looks like it was a beat though, but they're pulling back real nice here in Nordstrom's, pulling back into 19.5. So there's Nordstrom's on the daily, up 12.5% year to date, but definitely pulling back right now. Nordstrom's on the 1 minute chart, $20 right now, looking around. We'll see where the bottom's going to be. Let me just reverse this out a little bit. So the 200 period is the 50 period is $19. 200 period down here. I don't know. I got to find out what is this that we've marked down there. Oh, we'll do this after. Okay. CrowdStrike. I think that is out as well. CrowdStrike up 14. So here we go. CrowdStrike looks like it says no to anybody thought it was going the other way. CrowdStrike right now up 14, actually up $23 now, 7.5% goes CrowdStrike upside. But look at the daily. Where are we on CrowdStrike on the daily? So this is putting us right back up here. See if we can zoom in. No, zoom the other way. Oh no, right up to the upside right now, taking that down. 337 for CrowdStrike. That's right where we are right now, 338. So we are starting to take out some highs here on CrowdStrike. So good little number being reported there. There it is. This is the weekly. Doesn't get any better than where we are right now. CrowdStrike, bang it. Nice little move upside for Crowd. And here's the number. So let's have a quick look. CrowdStrike right now beating EPS 95, beating 82. Take a drink. Sales beating, so beating on the top and the bottom for CrowdStrike. So we'll just wait to see where we go from here. Nice move to the upside on CrowdStrike. We did talk about watching out for a fade. It did fade in today, but it only got back into this 281. There it goes, man. CrowdStrike with a nice beat back up to the upside and continuously going. So there's the daily chart on CrowdStrike, taking it out. This is what we look like right now. Wow. Crowd up 40% and ripping. This is a huge move, man. Congratulations to CrowdStrike. We talked about the implied move on this. The implied move was 13.5%. Will you take a triple? Yes or no? Up 33% right now. Huge move upside for CrowdStrike. Congratulations, anybody that's here with me. What's up to Rivercrat? Monty G coming through. Cooler Hand here. Wisey's here. David Moore, Joe Schmo. A lot of traders here looking at CrowdStrike back up to the upside. So it's a nice little beat for them. JWN, we talked about Nordstrom's up as well, man. No, Nordstrom's pulling back in a little bit. Let me just flip this over because we have a daily chart right now. 1 minute on JWN downside. So my bad there on JWN downside. Ross Stores was another big one that we're looking at. Up and down, kind of flat on Ross, but the big one that everyone's looking at is Crowd. So let's go over and have a look at some of the other names that are included with Crowdstrike, including our favorite Pan W. I'm assuming this is a nice, yes sir. There's Pan W up $8 right now in the after hours is Pan W starting to climb a little bit higher right now. So, all right, some of the sectors to look at today. Again, NASDAQ not with a great move, man. The XLK continues to get hit. XLK down 2.3%. The one that we really look at that follows the NASDAQ are the triple Qs. So down 1.64%. But again, a little bit of a bump up here in the after hours on the NASDAQ, just kind of putting us to where we were at the highs earlier on today for the NASDAQ back into there. So up 10% on the year for the NQs. We talked about possibly buying some weakness into the NASDAQ. For me, maybe it would be SMH. We talked about getting something out maybe on NVIDIA or on AMD as we continue to move higher and higher and higher on these names. But if SMH can pull back, I feel a little bit safer about that right now. But here's the thing for Crowdstrike that's really getting it bouncing, I guess. Crowdstrike sees forward 25 EPS in the 377 to 397 range, crushing the bottom. The bottom's 375. So they're saying that the estimate, their bottom is now higher than where the street is. So that is a banger. And you have to put in your own calculations here as how far Crowdstrike can go. But again, revenues, wow, revenues. This is what we're talking about. For a growth name, this is exactly what you're talking about. You want better revenues, right? The profit will come. It's the revenues. Work on getting people into your system, into your platform, into your universe. Crowdstrike doing that. Look at this. Oh, I thought this was going to be Chipotle Mexican Grill announcing a split, but no. First quarter results, April 24th. But there's Crowdstrike. First ever reported better than expected Q4 earnings and a nice upbeat. So there it is right now. Crowdstrike still continuing to go higher. Wow, 347, man. Crowdstrike up huge. We'll talk to, we'll talk to Michael Noss. We'll talk to Brian Shannon coming up really soon. If you can grab me that book back there, Dara, my bad. She brought it to me the other day, or the other minute there. Crowdstrike, nice move to the upside the other day. Hello, what day is it right now? Apple, a little bit worried about that. Here's the book right here. Anchored VWAP, maximum trading. We're going to talk to Brian Shannon very, very soon about that. All of us that are a little bit worried about Apple, this is why, man. You're down 6.8. If we can get my ugly mug off there, that'd be good. 6.8% on the year for Apple. We're going to go through this a little bit earlier. What's up with Sean's tweets? Let's just go down a little bit. I'm going to talk about this. This is not the segment, okay? This is what's up with Sean's tweets. But thank you to Adara for this because she tweeted this and showed me this. Look at this. This right now, all right, here, let's call this up. These are the enormous 8. We got Eli Lilly in here. What's the enormous 8? Oh, they put the S&P in here? Okay, that's fine. So they actually have Netflix in there. So good call right there. So Netflix. So look at this. Returns to date right here on the enormous 8. All right? Obviously, we should be including Netflix. Not enough love for that. NVIDIA. This is year total returns as of... Oh, data via charts as of. So this is enormous 8. This is year, right? Yeah, 2024 returns. So year-to-date returns. So you're talking about 2 months and a bit. Yeah, shrink me, right? There we go. We're getting shrunk out here. I like that. Maybe I'm on Ozempic here as we're getting shrunk out here on the side. But it's NVIDIA 72%. It's Meta 41%. You got Netflix 26%, Amazon. But look at the red ones here. Google, Apple, which we know about, and Tesla. That Apple number must be wrong because we just have Apple down 0.3 or 0.6. But anyways, I just want to take that to you. Go find me over there on X because, again, pretty important as we get looking for community. Go find us, me and Brian Shannon, all over X. Okay, uranium. Oh, you know which name I wanted to get involved with that I'm not? I am involved. I'm involved in XLV, which is the healthcare ETF. But one name that I think that we might have mixed here, XBI. So this is the biotech, right? The thing about this is we're always going to talk about AI. I'm getting this out of my ear because there's really no more earnings coming through. The thing about XLV is those are good names. We have UNH, some of the healthcare names, which I think is using, again, every business is using AI, so let me not get that twisted. But the thing about the biotechs, look at this breakout here. I was looking at IBB, and it's very, very similar. They haven't broke out as much, but this XBI, I'm gonna go find out tomorrow what the weight, I mean, there's a way that I can find out the weightings, and I had it up on the other side. But probably on that TradingView one, but anyways, we're using Trade Ideas. This has sort of broken out off the top here. And I know my guest, Brian Shannon, is going to talk a little bit about biotechs. He always does. There's some names that he likes in this. But look at the weekly chart. You want to talk about something that could break out even more. Obviously, we had a huge run up during COVID, you know, with everyone getting into biotech names. Pfizer right now is at a pathetic level, man, 26 bucks. Like, I'm going to blast out of Pfizer and go right into XBI, trying to take this out. I said I wanted to see what was on here. So what do I have? Oh, this is the 200 period SMA. Well, that one, my friend, should be green right here. So let me go set this live. You're seeing this happen live right now. Obviously, this will push OK. And I do not, oh, wait a second. It does not change that. All right, I'm gonna have to get into this. I don't even want this. We're gonna remove that. There we go, now we have it. Okay, save, all right. So this is what we're talking about. It's at the 200 period moving average right now and finally starting to break out. This is of course on the weekly chart. So I'm liking XBI here. If we move this over, look at this. So we're right at a level that I feel like here now for biotech names, Moderna's, the Eli Lilly's, the Bristol Myers of the world here on XBI. So I really like this breakout, and I think I'm gonna ask Brian about this when he comes through. What about XBI? Because this looks like it's gonna be a little good break out there on the weekly. On the daily for XBI, we're well off on that one. So we're well up and away on that. But I think XBI has a good chance to go, especially as we get more and more talk about, again, biotech names coming through. There's so much love here. Look at Eli Lilly. I mean, how much do we need to talk about this name? Just blasting up and away, right? So there's going to be the new generation of biotech names, and I know CRISPR Therapeutics is one that Brian's really liked, so I'm hoping that he can help me out here with a little bit of XBI love coming through. And I apologize, because on trade, I have a new layout on Trade Ideas, but we can normally break it out to see where the sectors are. But I do have this trading view sector here. And if you go over and have a quick look, communication, industrial, transportation, energy, and consumers, watch, it's not going to be here. Here, health technology. So this is exactly what we're talking about. Eli Lilly, I mean, we love that name. AbbVie, right? Merck, Thermo Fisher. There's going to be a lot of great names. Abbott Labs. Here's Pfizer. Pfizer today got a bounce up because, again, Josh Brown on CNBC came in there, was talking up his Pfizer, or not his Pfizer position, but I think it was making, and again, you have to check the news source, but a new position that he was trying to build in for Pfizer. But look at this on the daily chart. Pfizer has been, I mean, unless there's some sort of a catalyst coming through for Pfizer, I don't really see anything here for this name. So, I mean, maybe we can call out a weekly on Pfizer to see how low exactly we are on this name. Oh, where's my throw up key? I need a throw up key on here. We don't have one because that's pretty disgusting, but we'll just slap a fail. Everything's all good. I got it over here. Oh, there's a chat that might open up here. You want me to turn this over to you? We're getting all ready. Ramin is by her lonesome here today as Fabian had to bolt out there at the end of the day. So bear with us as we will get Brian Shannon coming through very, very soon. But anyways, Pfizer to the downside. Interesting name here. I feel like over 3,100 watching, first of all. Bang, thank you so much for that. 417 coming in right now. But yeah, Pfizer on the weekly just looks pretty sick. We're going to have to wait to hear if there's a catalyst for this name. I want to buy Pfizer. But I like the name. It's a household name now, thanks to the shot. Everybody knows that. There was a little blue pill that made this name famous as well, but now that can be off-branded. So anyways, Pfizer to the down to Viagra. I don't know why I said that. I mean, you just call it what it is. But there it is, a nice little downside move there for Pfizer. Feel like we're getting into a level where we might want to buy that name, so possibly coming through for Pfizer. Quickly on CrowdStrike before I call my friend Brian, let me know. Ramin, when he's all good, he is all good. Okay, so let me just check out CrowdStrike just real quickly before I throw over to Brian, because I know there's a lot of love for that one. Wow, $346. Okay, it's Trader Talk. Let's go. All right, Mr. Brian Shannon, we finally had a little bit of a pullback in the markets today. Catch you by surprise, or is that something that we've been looking for?
Not totally by surprise. I mean, this whole rally has seemed like it could pull back at any moment.
Right.
Yesterday, I had a subscriber webinar for Alpha Trends, and what I had pointed out was we had 2 stocks in the last week that had doubled. 2 little stocks, they doubled. That's signs of frothiness. Some of our other stocks have been getting stopped out. We're raising stops. New ideas were harder to find for long swing trades yesterday, and we actually entered a new swing trade short yesterday. So I kind of put all that together and said, this is the message of the market. It's telling us something here. It's not just some esoteric seasonality type thing where we have to be aware. This is the market actually speaking to us. So, I mean, I didn't expect it to gap down today and then sell off as hard as it did, but it wouldn't be surprising to me. And in fact, I hope that we see further downside just to kind of let this market catch its breath a little bit.
Here's the tweet that you're talking about here, Brian. So I want everyone to go follow you at Alpha Trend. So if we show this up right now, here's Brian Shannon from last night. Go find it out. Market feedback. Whoops, this is me and you talking there. So there it is. We'll go find that out. Just talking about some market sentiment and some ideas that we want to talk about. So at Alpha Trends, go find Mr. Brian Shannon. And everyone's saying, here he is. He's the man, the myth, the legend. That is right. We have you live right now. All right. You've made some great sort of looks for anchored VWAP, and we actually talked about anchored VWAP on the show today, as some of our traders in the floor behind me are now starting to use the anchored VWAP. So thank you again for sending a couple copy here. Maximum trading gains. This is making its way around the floor. A lot of traders like that. So shout out to everybody. They can go find that on Amazon and go over to your Twitter for more information there. But what about Crowdstrike? That kind of blew it out. We were looking for a 13% move or so. Brian, we're getting 33%. Looks like it's up and away on Crowdstrike. Anything technically here? Will you trade a name like this tomorrow? Anything on Crowdstrike?
Most likely I won't trade it, Sean. I'm not much of a news type of trader. I like to look for my setups where I feel like I have an edge in there's not so much competition. Now, it doesn't mean I wouldn't trade it 100%, if there's nothing else going on and there's a lot of action on this and I had some intraday VWAP levels. I might give it a try if I was bored, but most likely not.
Okay, so I was just getting a note from Brendan there about some earnings plays. But yeah, for me, I'm kind of the same way. And actually, there's something that you taught me that I've used a lot with earnings plays. And that was when there's a gap, play the return to, of course, VWAP. So we'll watch. Is it VWAP or VWAP? I mean, is it just a matter of throwing, okay.
It's the most useful tool in technical analysis. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. Who cares how you pronounce it, man? Who cares about that? But yeah, okay, so interesting move there. Look, one other name that I think is going to lead the market down. It was interesting to me today to see Microsoft leading the way, but Apple is what I kind of want to talk about with you real quick right now. So maybe if we can call something up, because Apple, there's a lot of traders right now, especially some that are more looking at trying to pick up something from value standpoint where they know is a leader of the pack. So a lot of people looking at Apple, Microsoft, Google. Obviously, some of these names are starting to lose themselves a little bit. Apple down now. We have it listed as down about 6% on the year. I think it's down a little bit more than that. Tesla's down as well. But just zooming out here, we have October lows. I feel like that's a decent spot to start looking at it. But I'm going to ask you from an anchored side of things. Are we looking down here at these January lows? If we do, where does that take us? I could just apply my own anchored VWAP right here and probably be able to get this answer.
Yeah.
Right there. Hey, there it is. We did it. We did it live on the show, baby. And we're looking at about a 172. So let me give it over to you, the godfather of said technical indicator. Let's go look at the anchored VWAP from Brian Shannon's standpoint.
Sure, we're going to see the same exact thing here on this weekly chart that you just showed. There's the anchor from the beginning of 2023, which happened to be the low of that move as well. And we had bounced from this right here, and now today we're through it. Now that doesn't mean it might not close the week right at that level. What I would really prefer to see, Sean, is that we would come down and undercut that low from October that you were just mentioning. If we were to take a slight undercut under there, I think you would capture a lot of new short sellers on the breakdown, which is highly uneducated, which is why they'd likely get squeezed. But you would also have, I think, a lot of stops from long holders under there saying, enough's enough, I'm getting out of this thing. And after that happens, we often see that's where the bounce will materialize. And then how much of a bounce is anyone's guess, but you know, the odds aren't very good. We've got a declining 10, 20, 30, 40-week moving average. It's in a downtrend. It's in a bearish trend right now, and it's not something that I personally would be interested in looking at, especially when you look at the shorter term timeframes and you see it's just been awful, downtrend with this declining 5-day moving average. It hasn't been able to break above it, except for a brief movement over here. But if you used a stop, you would have been out of that one quickly.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask if there's any questions in the chat. We will talk about that, but I'm with you on that, Apple. I feel like it's a little too tough to look to try to catch these falling swords right now, or knives. I guess not really too much of a sword. Do we have enough information to start looking at some of these Bitcoin ETFs? I mean, I'm just looking back. We only go back to about September here for some of these, like IBIT making the move all the way to the up. This is the one that I kind of like. I guess we don't go back to that's old information, but I feel like we just came out in January with some of these ETFs. So there it is. It's this first day here on IBIT. We had a nice little move down on Bitcoin today. You can look at MSTR or, different names like that. But maybe today we're starting to get a little bit of a pullback in BTC. Is there anything that you're looking at as maybe from an IBIT standpoint? I'm not going to ask you about Cathie Wood's ARC-B, because we know about your opinions there. So do we have enough information now that we can go back and start to use things like a VWAP or something like that for support in the Bitcoin space?
Yeah, if you recall, I mean, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, Sean, when I was on here, we did look at the IBIT ETF, and I've got that up on my screen right now. And we were talking about it because I was calling it a buy right over here at that circle as we got back above the anchor from the inception of these ETFs.
Right.
If you recall, that was the exact prior high in Bitcoin spot, and we kind of messed around with that. We broke a higher high right here. So I think that now the most you can look at, there's 2 levels here. We can put an anchor off of this move, which we closed above today. But if we're to see a little bit further pullback, which I would love to see, is maybe we look at this gap and tomorrow we kind of come up, get trapped underneath that volume weighted average price, come down here, and then come to this next level. I think somewhere in that 33.5 would be a really nice level for it to pull back to, that might start to make sense to look around for the possibility of some support in there.
Okay, good one there. We have a question. I like Bitcoin. I think that we're going to have the halving, so I need to figure that out a little bit. We're going to have Crypto Burb on to discuss that a little bit with us.
Perfect guy, yeah.
Yeah, you know Adrian? Oh, yeah, we talked about this. You know Adrian.
Adrian,
yeah, great guy there. Adrian Zadinchuk. He's going to be coming on. We'll talk about that with him. And then the Ethereum ETF launch, hopefully coming in the summer, another little bit of a catalyst to come through right there. Do you mind looking at PanW? So that's Palo Alto. So if you come over to my screen, I'll give you a second to try to load that up. In my books, we had a great bounce off of 260. I know people in the chat are probably like, oh man, we always talk about Palo Alto. But in CrowdStrike earnings today, we are getting a little bit of a relief rally in this name. So it was hit, was coming back down. A lot of traders were a little worried about this. We had the Pelosi bug in this as well. Apparently she's all over some of the calls. So that went up to 325 there, which is the 50-period moving average. I'm still a buyer. I really like the space, but was hit down. Look at this move up in the aftermarket on some nice CrowdStrike news. So good move upside right there. Are we in a little bit of trouble? What is there to worry about here from what you can see on PanW? I'm still buying more if we get back into 260.
Yeah, I mean 260. That bounce came right at the 200-day moving average here on the left. Yeah. You can see it struck it perfectly, and that's where Mr. Pelosi struck his call options, which turned out to be a great move. And unfortunately, the way it works out is the market found out about the call options over here. They chased it, and then it's been selling off subsequently. So, we're right back to the anchor from the gap lower, and this is a level that should hold as support, and it has so far. On the upside, though, a couple concerning things. One, the anchor off of that peak is right here. That's that purple line. The green line is the year-to-date anchored volume-weighted average price. And then you have a declining 5-day moving average. So I kind of think it's not going to just shoot higher from here, Sean. But what's more likely is maybe we pull back a little bit, consolidate, and then are able to get going. And then we could, buy some strength over here with a stop under a higher low somewhere around this level. It's possible it could do this, but I think that the second scenario I drew in is more likely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just want to make sure that everyone understands, and I get it from your book as well, and that is that when we're talking about technical indicators and levels of support, they're really just areas of interest. I mean, as we continue to look at them, you have to see how they trade around there and then put your stops accordingly, because I know that you and I have, again, talked many, many times on the show, and risk management. I mean, you could be a trader, that's great. Anybody could sit in here and hit keys. But if you're not going to spend time looking at charts and actually analyzing some levels, then I really feel like you're throwing darts. I know for you, maybe we could talk a little bit about that. When did you finally maybe get fed up looking at all of these technical indicators and then decide to really just focus on VWAP? Was there a time where you were sort of, because for me, it's happening right now, where I just look at a few moving averages, look at VWAP and kind of just say, you know what, RSI, some stuff, they're great to look at once you get into it. But I just feel like there's some very basic things that we have to learn first. When did that happen in your trading career?
Sean, I'm like anybody else who, as soon as I started, I would read about a new indicator or an old indicator, and it'd be new to me, the RSI, the MACD, whatever. And I would spend hours tearing it apart, looking at what drives it, and then looking at chart after chart after chart, and being convinced it was the magic oscillator or indicator. And I found that with oscillators and indicators, they're all great. They're all, even the volume weighted average price, it's all hindsight.
Right.
So we have to look at what matters most. Price matters most. Only price pays. What we're looking at with the volume weighted average price is price first and foremost, volume, which gives us the emotional intensity of how committed a crowd is to a move, and then time. We have to measure it from, everyone has a different time frame.
Right.
The anchor from the move lower in PANW. So far, it's being defended in this general area. The anchor from the year-to-date high, is that going to become resistance? So we look at those to frame our potential trade and wait for the evidence on a shorter term time frame. It's time to take that action, manage risk, and then the rest is up to the market.
Mr. Brian Shannon, I like the facial hair that you got going on there. I like that. Is that a new move?
You noticed, yeah.
Yeah, of course I noticed, man. It looks good. You look like, was it Heisenberg there from Breaking Bad? I like that look. All right.
A lot of white in there, though, Sean. That's the thing.
Oh, there's a lot of white. Yeah, I thought you were talking about mine there, too. Don't cover it up right now. Look, Brian Shannon, they can follow you at Alpha Trends. They can go find you over there. Head over to X. Go find this handsome man. I talked about it. Let's get you to 300,000, baby. Nice amount of followers there. Congratulations on that. And there it is right now. Anybody that needs to find out about the anchored VWAP, we got a little anchor emoji there, if that's what those are called. That's pretty cool. Go find it on Amazon. Brian Shannon, thank you so much again for coming on the show. You always add so much color to some of these indicators, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Sean. Have a good day, everyone.
Ciao. See ya. That's Brian Shannon. Go find him. All right, look, today we absolutely nailed a few things. And we'll look at trading just real quick. The one thing I want to talk about is we'll go down, hold on a second, topic next. I'll do this, topic next. All right, Sean's tweets. So let's just actually, topic previous. There it is. All right, sticky note is what I wanted actually, right there. Let's just zoom down real quick. Here's a sticky note from today. So I'll move this over a little bit so we can all see it. It was basically the Apple short that we really liked. We came in, we saw our watch list. The best resource you could get is watchlist.tradertv.live. Talks about Apple. Apple is starting to lead the way. We saw Apple break through 180 yesterday. We liked the short here today. We talked all about it. Easy level here to look at. If we rip past 175 anyways, there's more explanations there. iPhone sales down 24%. We like that one. We also like the AMD short here, 204, 205. We like the Amazon long and the Palantir long. So let's just review some of these trades, these two top ones. Apple and AMD, the two top names there. Amazon was actually a really good name as well for us. This is just real quick, just to talk about why it's important to have a bias. Unfortunately, guys, there's nothing I can do here about anything. Oh, this sucks. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we have these crazy wicks here, but we talked about it here on the sticky note. I just want to say real quick, we said here, fade it. So keep fading pops, okay? So look what happened off the open. Apple really ripped up here. It ripped right into the 200 period, and our out was going to be 172 and change. The thing is, it just kept on going. It gave us the shorts, then it cranked back in, taking $1 and change as we start to fade out. Everything purple are shorts. We get another VWAP short. Shout out to my guy Brian, who's just here. There's a VWAP short. There's more VWAP shorts right here again. We got stopped out there before. Unfortunately, let me just zoom this back out just a little bit to show you what we did to close. More shorts, nice movement in. So again, stay net the opinion that you have until something changes. Market was heading to the downside. I was not getting out of this Apple short until we took VWAP. That didn't happen. Then AMD, we said short into 204, 205. Look what we did right here. I mean, what else can we possibly do? These shorts is into 204, 205, then bang to the downside. We had a great trading day, and I hope you did as well. Thank you so much. Over 2,600 of you still with us. Over 3,500 to start. I like that, so we're going to do a little bit of roll call. Thank you so much for joining, man. Traders, stay late. And those of you that are here, it's roll call time. A big shout out to Bears vs. Bulls. We couldn't do this without you. Shout out to Ramin as well, helping out here at the end of the day. So there it is. Shout out. Here, let's go. Shout out to Ritz, Bora Hunt, Mr. Memes is here, Monty G is here, Andrew's here, Joe Schmo is here, Tom's Trades. Again, thank you so much for everybody today as well. As I can see all these just flying in. The internet was a problem today across many websites. Thank you so much for staying with us with YouTube. We're not done yet, Ramin. Here, let's go. What's up to Darren here? Nick Free, Alt Styles. What's up, man? What's up to Rich Naples? I like that. Hey, Mr. Westermeyer. I heard about the Sally Up, Sally Down challenge. So Neil's going to do that, and we're going to get a new Magic 8 Ball. Shout out to that one. What's up to Joe Schmo? What's up to Jimmy Joe Smith? What's up to Ponzi Fonzie if you're here? That guy always wants to shout out. Compass RX and everybody else. Look, join us all back tomorrow at 8:30. I'll be here. Neil will be here. Brent will all be here. Join us tomorrow at 8:30. Just make sure you're here. That's the important thing. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Go find the podcast, man. We had another great podcast. Do you guys tip at Starbucks? Go find the podcast. Go find us there on Twitter. Myself and Brendan. Great conversations had by all. Check us out at Trader TV Sean, at Instagram, with Instagram as well, at Trader TV Live on Instagram and Twitter. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Ciao.